All right. Hello. Good evening. Welcome to the O&G StrikeZone. Chef Bryan Fulford here. Kelvin Roser, Marcus Green. How you guys doing tonight? What's good? Oh, come on, Marcus. Come on. What is that big sigh for? Come on, man. What's
Well,
going on?
uh,
Be encouraged.
no, I'm encouraged. Two
23
things.
day, 23 days until the
Yep,
start of the football season. Three
yep.
weeks away.
No, just little tired. Little
Okay.
fatigued. Because my oldest, who y'all met at the
Yeah.
Celebration Bowl,
Yeah.
she
How's she
is in
doing?
Chicago.
Okay. Okay.
She was in the room with Trump.
Oh, at the NA, was that the NABJ thing?
Yep. So we
Hey,
got her off at the airport. Well, we got up at 3:30.
uh-huh,
Her flight was at 6. So
uh-huh.
I'm tired.
So she's got some stories to tell.
Oh yeah, we just literally just got off the phone with her. I got off
Oh
FaceTime
man, how
with
did
her.
how do we not get her on the show, Marcus? Come on now. She's supposed this is breaking news. This is intel. We should have her on the show the last half hour to give us a little background or
Oh,
something.
she's tired. She's even more tired than I am, but
Oh, come on.
because she just went straight from the airport to the conference and straight in there, and they had the security check and all that stuff. So
Come on. Young people, they're supposed to have all this energy. Come on now. Anyway.
Hey,
Kelvin, how you,
see,
yeah.
she ain't too tired to go to the club if she want to
Hey,
go.
thank you, Marcus. Thank you. That's what I'm glad you said it. You got daughters, you know exactly. She ain't gonna be too tired to go to the Chicago clubs in about 3-4 hours, Marcus. Come on
uh,
No, it's all good,
mm,
now. How's everything in Tallahassee?
man. There's a lot going on in Tallahassee, man.
I heard it.
Hey, it depends who you ask.
Mm-hmm. Yep. How's your lawnmower doing? Your lawnmower good?
Man, yeah, I'm getting some stuff done, man. Yeah, it's cutting well.
Good. Okay. Good to hear you. Good to hear. All right. Well, hey, welcome to the O&G Strike Zone. We are just three brothers on the mic. FAMU Rattlers here to talk FAMU athletics, culture, everything going on around the highest of Seven Hills in Tallahassee, Florida. We're part of the Black College Sports Network, broadcasting on the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page. So we say hello to our family there watching us at MyJBN Online. We say hello to you. Also on the Black College Sports Network, on Facebook, on Instagram. We say hello, everyone on Instagram, and everybody on X as well. We say hello. Thanks for joining in and watching the show. What's good? What's good, people? Um, and hello. Please make sure you're following us at O&G Strike Zone everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, X, even our YouTube page, where we sometimes clip parts of the show, and we will. You can always go back and get things like that. Watch them a little bit later. I want to encourage everybody while you're watching the show. Go ahead and find a way to contribute. You can always make a donation to the show using the square in the corner there. Also, if you're so inclined and you want to leave a super chat, if you're watching us on the JBN YouTube, you can always leave a super chat as well. Any donation, like a cup of coffee, it's always appreciated. It helps to keep us moving and functioning. We're looking to be in some places this year, and so we kind of need that support. And your support is greatly appreciated. Appreciated. Well, let me set the lineup for tonight's show. Coming up at the bottom of hour number one, we've got Nick Dixon joining us, who's now a coach. So I should call him not just former FAMU wide receiver and national champion, but also a coach. Coach Nick Dixon will be coming in and joining the show. Talk a little bit about a little bit of fall camp, what he thinks of the Rattlers, kind of what he's doing, and obviously, hopefully, some of you guys caught the interview we did last week with Nick's on the Sports Wrap with his EA college football game. He's been doing some good stuff there. Have you gotten into it yet, Marcus?
no, I haven't. My son, he hasn't downloaded yet. We're trying to negotiate getting it, but
What are we negotiating?
well,
Money,
no,
cost,
no,
time?
not negotiating like that. But he needed take care of his business before he started getting another game. So
I know where he was going with it.
Oh, okay. He got, okay. Dad said you got some stuff to do before you can go get a new game, huh?
yeah.
Okay.
But I've been looking at, my Jones has been stirring up because, back in the day.
Yeah, I bet. Um, we'll talk to him about that. And then coming up at the top of hour 2, Stan Becton of NCAA.com we'll talk to him and also get a firsthand look. We'll get an instant reaction. It's been about a day since he posted it, but we'll get a chance to talk to him about the NCAA.com power rankings. And one of the things that we will get into is, and we'll look at this from a total perspective. By my count, 5 different polls have come out. Actually, 5.5, because Dr. Cavill dropped his yesterday, but he only did half of it. So 5.5 polls have come out right now in the last week or two. And it's very interesting when you look at not only where FAMU sits, but just the gumbo of the top 5 teams. So we'll kind of look at it, and it basically sums up the thoughts that I know a lot of us had at SWAC Media Day. We just don't know what this season will look like. I mean, it really is one of these unprecedented years compared to the last few. We don't know who the top team is. We really don't. Everybody has an opinion.
Well, when we get into it, we kind of know there's a tier. We kind of know who the top tier is, but we won't
exactly.
But everybody has holes. So
yes, everybody has a different number one. I think there are 1, 2. Yeah, there are at least 3 different number ones. I'm just looking here. 1, 2. Yeah, there are 3 different number 1 teams. So I don't know if you'd rather be the number. One team falls into the top 2 on every poll. I just looked at it. One team falls into the top 2 in every poll. So I don't know if you'd rather be that team or whether you'd be one of the other 2 teams who are number 1, and then everything else is sort of a cluster. So we'll talk about that. Yeah. Shout out merch pack. Excuse me. The Dean Dozen drops tomorrow. I'm excited about that. I'm not even in Tallahassee, but I'm excited about that. My man Kelvin Dean, August 1, the Dean Dozen Krispy Kreme donuts. Make sure you go to your local Krispy Kremes in Tallahassee, Florida. Hit up the Dean Dozen right there in Tallahassee. Dropping tomorrow, August 1.
Us Kelvins, we got to stick together. So, I'll be making my stop early in the morning for the office.
Exactly. Go pick one up for the office. Don't even try to take one home for yourself. Make sure you're taking it on the way to work, and just get your one, and then drop the rest off in the break room. There you go. Dean does it. So let's go through some shout outs and say hello to the family that's already checked in, already in the chat rooms. Jimmy Mack, first one in the building. We say hello to you, Jimmy. Thanks for dropping in. Bull. Now please don't put that as a hashtag, Bull. No hashtag 237s. No, please, come on now. Don't be like that. Don't be messy that early. Early, right? Ken checking in. Good to see you, Ken.
What's up, Ken?
Marvin Allen checking in as well.
Good
to see you, Marvin. Kelvin. Yeah, there you go.
What's up, Kelvin?
What up, Kelvin? What up? Dr. Lori. Yeah, hopefully you're on the right page, Doc. I don't know.
What's up, Doc? How you doing?
I don't know. Are you on the right? What page are you on, Doc? You either watching us on our O&G StrikeZone or the MyJBN. Not really sure, but good to have you in the room. Good to have you in there. What up, Tony? How you doing? No duh. There you go. I was gonna say you're late. That's the one you're looking. There you go. There you go. All right, 2 in a row. Come on now. Come on, get tight. Mary 305, we say hello to you. Marcus J. Marcus, how you doing, Marcus? Good to see you checking in. Thank you again, Marcus, being a subscriber of the JBN channel. Little baby, we say hello. How you doing, little baby?
What's up, little big
Uh,
baby?
breaking news. We got some breaking news here.
Uh-oh.
Breaking news on the show. They have cut the grass on the practice field, but the fence is still down. I'll take the grass being cut. I'm curious, Jimmy, while we're breaking news on the subject. Did boosters come in and do that? Did the people do that, or did the school do that? Can you add some clarity? But good to know that the grass has finally been cut, because I thought I was gonna have to
Hey,
drive up to Tallahassee with my lawnmower.
hey, let me just say something. Um, right quick. Football season is the same time every year. You
Really?
probably should pay your bills so that
Probably.
and then you should also have people who know how to get on lawnmower and cut it. I mean that's a low bar. I'm just saying that's a low bar.
It's a low bar. All right. But we
Yeah.
did start the season a week early. Maybe that was the problem. Let me stop.
Nah.
Let me stop. Mac Webb, good to see you. Thank you for checking in with you. Ezekiel Love, good to see you, family. Thanks for checking in. Tamara T, good to see you, Tamara. Thank you for being a JBN subscriber on the YouTube page. Demetra Alford, checking in. Good to see you, Demetra. Kenya Sykes, hey, Kenya. Thank you, Kenya, our winner of our Kofi Hemingway Spirit Award. Good to see you, Kenya. Thank you. Meredith coming in. Meredith, thank you for being a JBN subscriber as well on our YouTube page. Adrian Crook. Come on, man. Stop it. Gail, how you doing, Gail?
What's up, Miss
Gail?
Gail?
Cleveland. Good to see you, Gail.
The land.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Chuck Hunt checking in from Monroe, Louisiana. Hey, Chuck.
No Kakalaki. Monroe? Okay.
Edwin Moore.
Instigator. What's up, Instigator?
Yeah. EA coming in. Oh, EA's aggravated? You're aggravated?
Hey,
oh, boy.
Hey, he ain't so hot. He ain't even talk. Usually he just shoot his shot and tell you what he hot about. He ain't even told us what he hot about.
Kerry Daniels, Fan Day. I'm assuming you're talking about the kickoff luncheon on August 10th.
Fan Day. No, Fan Day is after the kickoff luncheon.
But it's the same day. Yes.
It's the same day.
All right.
The luncheon
All right,
is
so
at
Lunchtime.
2, something like that.
yeah, same day.
Do we actually get lunch at the luncheon?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I
And
just had to ask.
Fan Day is following, and Fan Day is following at 4:30.
All right. JT checking in. Good to see you, JT. Keith, Fangs Up Podcast. Thanks for checking
What's
in.
up, cuz?
Get the likes up, definitely.
The high.
Sweet. Thank you,
For a little
Sweet,
while.
checking in.
What's up, Duval?
Thank you for being a JBN subscriber as well. We appreciate you. All right. Let me go through. Am I missing anybody? Nope. I got everybody. Okay, here's Doc. Doc finally found the right account, so we appreciate you, Doc. Now she's moderating. There we go. Jay Hunter, thank you for checking in as well. Larry Smith checking in. Thank you, Larry, for being a subscriber of the JBN channel. Appreciate you. Iria, thank you. Checking in. Good to see you.
All right. We need a softball coach.
We gotta we gotta talk about it, I guess.
We gotta
Boy,
talk about it.
yeah, we need a softball coach. I don't know. We might have to pull some people out of the offices and out of retirement. Just saying. Will Davis, good to see you, Will.
What's up, Will?
Thank you for checking in. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna save the housekeeping notes here for a second, because we got to get into the hot topic. The hot topic right off the bat, man. You ready, Kelvin? You got your stuff. You got your stuff.
Man,
You ready?
No, No, go ahead,
You
Mister
ready?
Steakhouse.
Mr. Ginsu.
Got my steak knives ready, boy. I tell you what, man. So okay, well, it looks like we've got some more just stuff happening involving our board of trustees and our men's basketball coach contract. This isn't about the coach. Okay, let's be very clear. The events of what was it? Yesterday, Tuesday's board of trustees DSO meeting reported on, as it was reported on, not only by Gerald Thomas of the Tallahassee Democrat, but Stephen Gaither of HBCU Game Day. The stuff that is happening right now amongst our board of trustees as it relates to the contract approval of our 15th head coach, Patrick Crary II, is really, in my opinion, an issue of politics not being played the right way. And it's also more so not about him, but more so his boss, AD Sykes. As reported here in Gerald Thomas's article from this morning, at Tuesday's FAMU Direct Support Organization and Athletic Committee virtual meeting, Trustee Kelvin Lawson motioned a recommendation for Crary to be signed to a one-year contract. Now, again, he was offered and signed not only by the president, AD, and the general counsel, a 3-year deal, average of $150,000 a year, the same contract in essence that Coach McCollum had signed when he first came to FAMU in 2017 and later signed on an extension in 2020. Same contract, same dollar value, even though inflation has happened and the cost of living is more. Anyway, it's the same contract. Okay. 150,000. Same 3 years. 3 years. Okay. And as we said back in a previous show about a month ago when this came before the board for approval, again, he was offered and hired. The press conference happened on April 18th. So this board of trustees meeting in June should have really been the formality of approving his contract, but it happened right on the heels of, we talked about it, parent dispute regarding the team and things like that, and things that, in my opinion, probably should have never really even come up, but it did. And so they tabled the discussion on his contract. At that time, it was tabled for what was supposed to be August when they have their retreat next month. I was totally blindsided, me personally, that this even came up again in the committee meeting yesterday. Okay. So this, of course, this meeting took place after the approving of Dr. Timothy Beard on a one-year contract for the university's interim president position. Okay. And so, to quote in the article, Trustee Lawson stating that, this is crazy as I'm reading this. One could easily conclude that I'm not predicting success. What I'm trying to do is mitigate the risk. If I go with 1 year because I'm not 100% confident and the year is successful, then great. I'll go with multi-year. That's what Trustee Lawson said. And then he later added that AD Sykes, if she decided at the end of the year wanted to extend for another year, then that is at her discretion. Okay. That motion was seconded by Trustee Michael White. and it passed with a 6-2 majority vote, proctored by FAMU Associate General Councilman David Self. Interesting. Other trustees that are part of that committee outside Lawson, Deveron Gibbons, Lauren May, Kenward Stone, Nicole Washington, and Michael White were all in favor of the 1-year contract, while Natalie Figures and Judge Belvin Perry all voted against it. They probably realized that this isn't right. Okay. Again, note this was initially a 3-year contract brought before the board, worth $450,000, $150,000 annually. Okay. Any instant reaction, or shall I keep going here real quick?
There's plenty of reaction.
Plenty more. Okay.
Yeah.
Lawson would further add, quote, "Everyone knows it takes time in a program to rebuild. I get that. I want to be careful when I say, because I'm not trying to be disparaging. That's always like that, but I'm gonna be disparaging here. But out of 50 candidates, and there were actually 51 candidates, this person probably wouldn't have finished in the top 5 in most races. I don't know what races Trustee Lawson has been paying attention to, but if you looked at the list of names, I think you're wrong. I personally think you're wrong. But again, this isn't about the candidate. Trustee Lawson seems to have a problem with the process. Or maybe he forgot when he was the chair of the trustees, he approved the contract of a coach who, as much as I love him, didn't have a winning record when he came to FAMU. He didn't. Not above 500. But he must have forgot that. He must have forgotten. Or maybe it was just that this person wasn't recommended by someone from another university in the city of Tallahassee. Maybe that's why this person, when he says about this person, although there was somebody on that list who was hired by that university across the street. Just saying. Maybe that's who he wanted to be the head coach. I don't know. That person never had been a head coach before. 20 years as an assistant. But this person who AD Tiffany Sykes brought forward is 41 years old, has spent the last 14 years as a head coach, has a winning record of about 65%. Oh, should I even add that Trustee Lawson really, he's a trustee, a governor-appointed trustee, Governor Rick Scott. Now, you think back on how long ago that was, folks. All right. And technically termed out in 2021, but since he hasn't been replaced, he's still on our trustees board. Not saying he's not for FAMU, but I'm just pointing out facts. Let y'all interpret that however.
So are you saying that he doesn't have a 1-year contract?
He does not. Oh, his 1 year has flipped over 3 years. His 1-year contract has extended now to 3 years. He has yet to be replaced.
Oh, the irony. Oh, the irony.
Oh, the irony. The irony. Okay, hold on. While we're talking about irony, my guy, Trustee Deveron Gibbons. Of course, he who previously had stated that he had issues as well with this. He chose to state in his statement that he didn't want to get into hiring or firing. That's not his job, although, I'm going to make strong recommendations. But somehow it bothers. Now, check this out. It bothers him when I see some names on there, and the list he's talking about is that list that got out of the names who applied for the position, 51 coaches. Watch this. Many which I don't even know. But I look at their background and experience and wonder how we got this individual that's 2 divisions beneath where we are playing in the SWAC. I mean, towards the person having a 1-year agreement. I lean towards a person having a 1-year agreement and give them a contract based on how we do this year and revisit it later. The irony, which my guy Stephen Gaither so eloquently pointed out, the irony of that statement back in 2027 when we hired Coach McCullum, do you know who was on that list of names? That the list of 100 and something names back in 2017? Dante Jackson of Grambling State. All he's done is win at Grambling State. Recently won back-to-back regular seasons, won a conference tournament,
Yeah,
got to the NCAA, won a game.
Upset last year.
Upset, exactly.
Who was it? Colorado? I think it was Colorado. Maybe one or two upsets.
Yeah.
I think Colorado in the early season.
Uh-huh.
So they got a pack.
He came out of the NAIA. He was coaching at Stillman College prior to coming to Grambling. He applied for the FAMU job back in 2017. Guess what? Came out of the NAIA to the SWAC at Grambling. I guess Grambling trustees value winning a little bit different than FAMU trustees. I don't know. Maybe. He just got a contract extension into 2029, by the way. I think that's more than 3 years, by the way. The irony. But this is what we're dealing with. This now. Kelvin, I have a thought, and I don't want to go long here because we got to get to our segment break and our guest. But I want to stop here, give you a few minutes to get your thoughts in, and then I got to talk about the other side of this if we have time, and maybe I'll save it for later. But go ahead, Kelvin.
Normally, I like to. I have a rule. Kelvin's supposed to stick together. Normally. But tonight, I don't know that Negro. Let me tell you something. You want to see people who don't know what the hell they doing? This is a prime example. So in athletics, the market for coaches is the market, right? We just lost a softball coach to Alabama State who has a 3-year deal. But something people probably ain't gonna look at is all this started with Larry and, frankly, Kelvin Lawson. We used to give 3-year contracts to all coaches pretty much. And then there was two dismissals that he referenced. Where he said the university thought they had won and they lost. Those two people are Rattler legends and in the Hall of Fame. That would be Earl Holmes and Clement Johnson. And they had 3-year deals, and for some reason, people thought that if you get rid of them, you don't have to pay them. Why they thought that, I have no idea. That's pretty stupid. That's pretty dumb. You can get rid of them, but you got to pay them. And so when that happened, Lawson got in his mind that, well, we just won't give him a year. We just won't give him a multi-year deal. But we already give multi-year deals to head coaches. We have 2 other coaches that have multi-year deals. So number one, we ain't even consistent. But number 2, the market is the market. At the end of the day, it's not his job to like the selection. It's their job to prove the damn contract. Period. As long as it's legal and within the parameters of what the market is, then shut the hell up and sign the daggone contract and let the man coach and build his team. And I'm trying not to be even meaner right now, so I'm gonna just leave it right there. But this is insane, and our board of trust. First of all, our coach, our players, our program, we deserve better than this. Something got to be normal. Something got to be professional, right? People got to know how to. Sometimes you do have to stay in your lane, and they are all out of their lane. But
Mm.
let me say this now. Dr. Robinson is the cause of all this, because because coaches in Olympic sports did have multi-year contracts, and then it started with him of not awarding coaches multi-year contracts. And I will say that had our softball coach had a 3-year deal, she probably wouldn't have left, right? We're lucky that some other coaches have decided to stay. They have been offers, but for their own reasons, they decided to put up with it. I would tell you, people looking at this thing different now. We still don't have a softball coach. We trying to bring in the softball coach that we just lost, and we're having trouble. We're having trouble recruiting people. No multi-year deal. You don't fully fund the program in terms of assistant coaches and GAs. I mean,
Mhm.
at
And
some
stop
point we
sending
got to
emails.
operate as D1 program.
Mhm.
Stop
And
sending
We
emails.
got
Y'all
to
ain't
operate
helping.
like D1.
to your point, Kelvin,
So
just to add to that,
go ahead.
and now they up the ante with the NCAA rules in terms of everybody being equivalent scholarships. So they offer a higher, you can offer a higher number of players scholarships now in the Olympic sports. So now we're battling that too in terms of not fully funding the program. I'm sorry, go ahead. But I got a little piece for it too.
No,
Um,
no, that's all I want to say right now. We got to be professional, and something got to be normal and regular. This
Mhm.
should this should have been normal and regular. Approving you got to remember, this is a revenue generating sport. You're asking this man to raise all this money to play all these beatdown games and talking about a damn winning record. Miss me with that, man. Come on, y'all idiots. I'm sorry, not sorry.
this is how you know the level of pettiness that's happening right now. At least some trustees recognize it. Trustee Otis Clatt recognizes what's going on. It stated that FAMU assembled. Now, check this out. I don't know if many people know this. FAMU assembled a 5-person search committee
Mhm.
to help AD Sykes identify Coach Crary as the head coach.
Hey, now
Quote,
hey Brian, I'm gonna stop you real quick on that.
I'm
Now
just
we
reading
know
what's quoted.
we
I'm reading what's
we
quoted.
we
It's in print.
hey
It's in print.
hey, but I'm gonna call it like it is now. The search committee ain't don't mean nothing. We understand.
It does mean something. It decided
No,
who
it
our
don't.
football coach was.
No, it didn't.
It did.
Rattler Nation decided
The
that.
search committee. The search committee. What are you, shame on you? What are you talking about? Quote from Trustee Clatt. We have procedures in place. The AD followed those procedures. She included DSOs, booster club folks, and so on. They too had an opportunity to look at this list. This is the person they came up with. Thank you, Trustee Clatt.
And
But
let me just say this. And let me just say this, Brian. I have no problem with the hire. I think coach is
Mhm.
going to be fine if you
Mhm.
leave him alone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agree.
Were there some other names that may be more notable? Yeah, but they also cost more money. They also would have took longer to negotiate. It's a
mhm.
lot of things that go into winning more than just what your resume and where you were. Just because you win one place don't mean you go elsewhere and win. We done seen that a lot in a lot of different sports, right?
Mhm.
So I have no problem with the hire, man, and we just FAMU in this. We fumbling this right now.
Mhm.
Big
Now,
time.
let me jump in real quick, Brian.
Please.
And I said this early in the pit, and I said I was going to say this. We have Alabama aspirations. This is for anybody who lives in the Southeast and follows SEC football. We have Alabama aspirations with Auburn dysfunction. So if you follow the programs, you get exactly what I'm saying. And the problem is, just like all of y'all are saying, and some of the people in the chat, who's going to come? Well, first of all, you disrespected Coach Crary because a 1-year contract. So there's meddling that doesn't need to be done. A 1-year contract and a prove it contract for in his first year, knowing that you had an exodus of almost, I don't know how many, almost double digit players. So you can try to put pressure on this man to improve whatever that represents with players that he got over the summer, Last minute, you tell him he's got a 1-year proven contract in his first year in the program with all new players. That's basically 80-90% new team. And then, like you said, the process was followed. We don't know all the politics behind it, but the process was followed, apparently, from the learning lesson and the wrist slap from the football coaching search. And now, I guess the other thing is, if Coach Crary, I don't know if he would have accepted a 1-year deal, but even if he did, he might have recruited a lot of different players. I don't know. He might have got a lot of ringers in there so he could just do the thing up the 1 year if he knew he had to prove himself in year one, just to keep the job. If he can get any players, if they knew he was going to be on a 1-year contract, because that's no longevity for the players or the coach. And so once again, I know we talked earlier about the clip, from the Cosby Show, but anybody who remembers that clip when he was talking to Theo, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. A 1-year contract for a new coach with 80% new players. And you're pulling, once again, I don't know who's in whose ear. You're pulling lists that we got off of, I don't know if it got released or if it was some kind of website that put up the 50 people. And as Kelvin stated, you have some notable names on the list who've done some things currently and done some things in the past, but you don't know to what degree, you don't know what they're asking. They might have asked for a salary or a budget that exceeded what we can afford. And we already see we lost a softball coach, got outbid for a softball coach because we didn't ante up. And now, we all have to work within the parameters of what is slotted for, what we can afford, the coaches and all the other things and the ancillary stuff. And that last thing is, and guys know I've been on this thing about the cradle of coaches and launching pad. We get somebody who wants to be here from an NAIA program. We had a national championship at one school and was doing well at the school in St. Thomas in Florida, wants to be here, wants to build a program. And at his age, he's probably looking at it the same thing as Coach Simmons. I could use this as a launching pad. So why not position ourselves, get rid of the dysfunction and say, hey, if you want to launch your career here, you can build the program or build on the success of your predecessor and you can get there from here. But no, we want to give this man a 1-year deal on some bull crap because now people are playing games.
And let me just state, and we'll coming up later on the show, we'll talk about the other side of this. I know some of you have feelings there. There's more than one person to blame in all this. So we'll talk about the other side as well. But let me just say, there is no team program in the SWAC doing what we are doing. Nobody, not even look, hey, you may say, well, they were. Mississippi Valley State, the lowest rated program in the SWAC, lower than us, yes. They're not even doing this. And they have a budget which is probably less than some high schools in Tallahassee. So they're not even doing this. So we've got people who say that they are tired of FAMU being in the news and things of that nature. Well, they are creating a little bit of the news. Again, they are creating this situation. Now, there's another side to this, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, but let's table the discussion for now about the basketball contract and situation because we got to take a break. We're a bit behind. We're going to talk to Nick Dixon on the other side of this break. And then at the top of hour 2, we're going to talk to Stan Becton. We got a lot of football conversation to talk about as well. Camp is 1 week in, so we got some things to get to talk about as it relates to the upcoming season. All right. Appreciate all the interaction. Make sure you guys hit the thumbs up and the like button wherever and however you're watching us. We'll be back in just a moment. You're watching the O&G StrikeZone right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Choice Hotels is a family of brands that helps you get the most for your money so you can be any traveler you want to be.
You could be a free hot breakfast hero at a comfort hotel.
Yes!
That's how you waffle.
Mr. This script got a plot twist at a Radisson hotel.
A business big leaguer.
Go for key.
Even the ultimate pool float inflator.
With 22 brands and the best value for your money, Choice Hotels has a stay for any you. Book direct at choicehotels.com, where travels come true. Gotta get the corners.
The human voice has always connected audiences with experiences. Major brands all across America have trusted Kever's voice time and time again. Conversational, powerhouse, intelligent, and sincere. That's the voice you need for your creative marketing process. KEAVERSVOICE.com. Kever's Voice, Kever's Voice, KeversVoice.com. Always on, all the time.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head and Shoulder Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working.
Never not working. Never ever not working. Head and Shoulder Scalp Shield. Never not working.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to the O&G Strike Zone. Bryan, Marcus, Kelvin. Before we bring in our next guest, I want to remind you guys, hey, I just put in the chats. We're doing a poll here. We're trying to figure out where should the BCSN Game Time show roll to this year. Obviously, we have certain locations we will be at. We will be at the MEAC SWAC Challenge. We'll be down in South Florida for the Orange Blossom Classic. We'll be at the Florida Classic. We'll be at the 100th meeting between Alabama State and Tuskegee. And, of course, we'll be at the Celebration Bowl. But everywhere in between, there are many stops that we're going to go. So what I need you guys to do is to check out the link that I put in the chats, mybcsn.net/watch/polls, and let us know what games should we attend. Don't put every game as a FAMU game. I know that's what y'all Rattlers are going to do, all right? We're going to be at FAMU games. But, I mean, there might be some other games as well. So if you see a game that looks interesting, please go ahead and put that. Go ahead and vote on that. All right, appreciate you. Let's bring in Nick, Coach Nick Dixon, my man.
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
How you doing?
What's up, Nick?
How you doing? I'm good. How y'all doing?
Man,
doing great, man.
Thanks for your time. Sorry we're running a bit behind. How's it going, man?
Look, I love the conversation y'all just had. I watched. I loved it. It was fun. We had a good practice today at my school. We had a good practice today.
All right. For those who don't know, you may not have caught the show a couple of weeks ago. Nick is now an assistant head coach at Godby High School.
Assistant receivers coach.
Okay, let me clarify it. Assistant receivers coach. Okay,
well, I coach receivers with Coach. I don't know Coach Green first name. If you're from Tallahassee, High School, you would know Coach Green. No, he went to Leon, and I think he went to Toledo out of Leon, and around like 2008, 2007, around that area.
I don't know. Again, I've been bad about clipping the segment that we did with you, but I want you to just touch back on the influence Coach AC had on you. You talked about his influence on you and your coaching style. And for those who may not have caught that, just talk a little bit about his influence on you as a person, maybe even now as a coach.
I I've had a lot of coaches throughout my life that I really wasn't the biggest fan of, just because of how they used to talk to me or treat me, or like just how people used to get their point across. But Coach AC knows how to really talk to you and knows how to get the message across. And if you stick with him, he's going, like, you could tell he really cares. Like, I could tell Coach AC actually cared about me, because I remember I was telling a story about the USF game, the week of the USF game. I had a family emergency, and I had to go to Jacksonville to visit my mom's mom. And I remember seeing my dad up there, and I'm like, dang, it's something serious. And my dad come up there. So my dad come pick me up. We drive to Jacksonville, and I remember Coach AC was, and mind you, I had just got the spot from David Manigo. And Manigo was a staple in our, he was a staple in our offense. He was a guy for us years before, and I had just earned the spot. So I'm like, dang, this a money game too. Like, we're going into a money game. This a game all the guys want. You want to play against the bigger school. So going into that game, I was just real nervous. Like, I'm like, dang, I'm finna miss Thursday practice. I'm gonna miss Friday practice. Like, and I'm finna just meet him there. So get there. I remember he was just telling me, because Coach AC will call you, he'll pray with you. I promise he's a great human. Like, he's a great person. So he was just telling me, he's like, don't worry. He's like, when you get here, he's like, we'll be here. He was like, he knew I knew, because Coach Simmons knew too. I've played tight end before. So I wasn't like I wasn't know what I was supposed to do. It was more of this is Nick's first time probably in a real big game, and he's having to start. Like, I played tight end in 2021, but Kamari started, and I was our move around tight end. So get to the game, get to the hotel. I'm kind of nervous. I got a lot going on, got a lot on my mind. And he just kind of talked to me. He was like, man, you gotta just lock in, gotta be you. He was like, you gotta block everything out. Like, he used to tell us, and Coach Simmons used to tell us, when you go on the field, like, this is your sanctuary. Like, this is your place to just clear your mind. He's like, for these couple hours, he's like, don't think about anything else but this. Like, if you really love this. So I remember I came out, I had a drop before the half, and I had a false start. And I remember thinking, like, dang. And he was rotating guys. I was like, man, I'm all in my head. And I remember he pulled me aside. He came to me after the drop, and he was like, he hugged me, he brought me close. He's like, come on, man, be the guy I know you could be. Like, he's hugging me. He's like, I got faith in you. He was like, you done earned this spot. He's like, I put, like, because look, a lot of people don't know this. After spring, I started in spring, I didn't have a good spring. I'll be 100 with you. I didn't have a good spring. Led the spring in drops. And I pride myself on catching the ball. I rarely drop the ball. Wasn't having the best spring. Went in the fall camp as the 4 at my position, the 4 at X. By week 1, I was starting. So he was talking to me. He's like, you did all this work. You put all this effort in. He was like, you showed me you could do it. He was like, show everybody else. He was like, this is a big game. He's like, we need you, man. He's like, I need you. He's like, Nick, I need you to come through. And, it clicked. Right before the half, I'm gonna be honest, like, right before the half, I can remember. We caught a concept. I caught a ball, got down real quick. I avoided a hit. We threw a ball to Marcus. Marcus, though, he had a great extension, caught a ball on our sideline. Threw another ball to, I think Kamari caught like an under. I caught a dig. And then we caught a timeout, and we had a fumble right after. Fumble crushed us. But I can remember everything about that game. And I can remember a lot of the moments of this year. I can remember West Florida, I caught a ball. And if you know me, some of my teammates and some of, like, people who coach me know, they'll always say, like, if I catch a ball, I'm not going past 20 yards. Like, I'm not fast enough, or I wasn't this close enough. I caught a ball versus West Florida and went 61. And I remember Coach AC was like the first person to meet. He was like, they told you couldn't do this. They tried to put you on a box. Like, he's hugging me, he's loving me. And I'm like, I can really appreciate a coach that he knows how to talk to you. Like, I can understand a coach that Coach AC knew how to. He treats all his players differently. He knows how to talk to different players. And a lot of kids want that same treatment that the other guy gets. And in reality, you can't really have that. I'm learning that now with some of the kids I'm coaching. I got to talk to some kids different. Got to trim different, because you don't know what's happening to somebody until you see them that moment. And I remember fall camp with Coach AC was a great one, because Coach AC he made us, like, he made me a leader. He made me more of a leader and more vocal in trying to help people, because I'm used to stay in my lane, do what you do, and keep it pushing. But if you want to win a championship, or you want to be on a championship program, you have to be able to grab a buddy and bring them along. And I can honestly say, I was gonna go into coaching when I was telling myself I was gonna be a coach. I told myself, like, in the back of my head, because I remember when I was in high school, I used to feel like other dudes got different treatment. And I used to hate it. I used to hate it in middle school. I used to hate it in Pop Warner. But I realized with Coach AC, you need that. Like you need to treat people differently. You need to learn your players. And I feel like Coach AC did a good job of learning his players. Like every single one of us, he'll talk to us differently and he'll let us be ourselves without too much like nonsense. Like me, I love talking. I love having fun. But I learned I have to get going before I talk. I have to get going in football before I talk. I can't just, I'm not a dude that can just roll out there talking crazy and just be good. I have to warm up to it. I do. So I remember in fall camp, he told me, don't talk at all. He was like, don't talk at all. Just play football. Like, I don't want to hear you talk unless you're talking about a player trying to make sure somebody else is straight. And if you ask Coach Simmons always let me talk. He always let me talk. I ain't gonna lie, he always. And when I played tight end, I wasn't really. Kamari is a really great receiving threat. So we didn't really. I was kind of like a crash dummy. I throw my body around. It didn't really matter. I was gonna put it all out there because I was on the field. I'm a real team player. So at tight end, I could talk because I knew the blocking concepts. It was easy, and he wasn't really worried about me getting the ball too much. So I can honestly say, Coach AC, and I'm be honest, Coach Spady. Coach Spady he was a big part of my experience there too, Coach Spady. And Coach JB too, but Coach AC really did stick out. The 1 year, I wish I could have had a couple more years of Coach AC just because of who he is, and he helped me. He helped me build really good habits. Because if you play receiver at FAMU, you'll think our Indy is super super boring. You'll think what we practice is sometimes boring, but it really translates. I can be honest, like everything he teaches us really translates. You could tell that Coach AC's been in the league, helping around. He played at Alabama. He's been at these different. You could tell that he has a lot behind him and that he knows what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Marcus, I'll go with you next. Go ahead.
Thanks, Coach Nick. Let me ask you this: what has been the biggest surprise transitioning from college, being a player and championship player at that, to coaching in the high school ranks?
I will say this. The newer generation is a little bit different, but I would never blame the kids. I feel like there's kind of a disconnect between parents and kind of instilling authority in like the younger generations. Like just like probably this group of high schoolers and a little bit younger, it is a little bit harder because some of them it is harder to get some respect sometimes because some kids just who are who they are. But I can't blame you because you're being a kid. So, and the biggest transition is they don't really care what you've accomplished or what you've done. They don't. So I am learning to earn. I'm okay with that because I had to earn FAMU's respect. I'm okay with earning their respect. And what is something else that I've come across? Because I've been out there since early July. Kids aren't as tough as they used to be. I can honestly say that. And I like a lot of people may be like, "Oh, were you tough?" I would tell everybody. I played a whole year. I played 2021 with a torn knee. I played the whole year with a torn knee.
Hmm.
And my thumb was broke for like the last 5 weeks of the season, last 4 weeks of the season. I broke my thumb Southern game, whatever Southern game it was. I can just in 2021, kids are not as tough as they used to be. And it's because football is going in the way that it's less tough. I can honestly say that. Like we that guy, we have some real thumpers. Like we have some dogs out there. We do. But the kids who aren't dogs, you can tell that they may be good at football, but they don't have the dog in them because of the programs or like how they were brought up or how they were coached. I can honestly say you can ask my parents. I've been tackling. My parents were so surprised that I chose to play offense. I played defense my whole life growing up. I played defense all until I got to high school. Like I got to high school and just complete. And both my brothers played defense at Florida State. Like I just completely switched. I don't know what it was, but I was tackling toilet paper. I was tackling everything around my mama's house from 3 years old till I can remember. So I wish I could bring her in here. She might not be ready for a camera, but I can honestly say I remember stacking up toilet paper and running full speed in this hallway, running full speed in this hallway behind me, tackling toilet paper. I remember going to workouts at the high school when I was in middle school. I remember getting a little brother by like my older brother friends. Like I don't think that happens nowadays. Like it just I remember one of my dad's old teammates, man named Ken Alexander. He played at Florida State. He played for the Carolina Panthers. He was my Pop Warner coach. When I was 6 years old, I was either 6 or 7. I remember I played up. Like I played with a bunch of kids that were probably 2 years older than me. And I can remember one practice, like I remember I was ducking smoke. I straight up tell you, I was ducking smoke. I remember. And he told me straight up, like, dude, like, this is a grown man game. Like, you gonna have to stick your nose. I played middle linebacker, and I was either the youngest or the second youngest on the team. But I remember, like, I can remember learning how to earn your role and earn your spot because I didn't start. But I remember going from the kid that got 11 plays, to being the kid that was out there playing a whole bunch. And it was because I cut it loose. There are a lot of kids that won't just cut it loose and just be a dog anymore. I feel like there are some that still will. There are two kids. There are actually a couple kids on the team right now. I feel like could have played when my brothers were at Godby and when I was at Godby. And around those eras, got my oldest brother played at Godby when Godby was coming back to the forefront of being really good. My middle brother won a state championship at Godby, so he definitely feels like they were good. And my senior year, we brought it back around. There's a kid right now. He's going into the 10th grade. He's probably like 100 and he told me that I think like 157 pounds. He like 6 foot, 157. That kid has the heart of a lion. I watched it today when we did board drills. He didn't win every rep, but he fired off as hard as he could and as hard as he could each rep. And I'm trying to figure out how to get kids to do that. Like I'm telling him, go as hard as you can, do this, do that, and the kid will just go up there, chest out, and just hit a kid. And I'm like, like it's not really what I need you to do. Like, I need you to put your face in something. I need you to get your shoulder pads behind you, and I need you to hit as hard as you can. But it's just a different age group and a different mentality. So I'm learning not to coach as if it's me out there. I'm learning to coach as if it's a kid who never played football, never tackled anything before. I'm trying to coach as if you never played the game before.
Mm. Good stuff. Good stuff. Kelvin, go ahead.
He
We got
freezing up.
Kelvin. Yeah. Kelvin, you there? All right. He froze up. I know he'll come back in just a second, I think. So let me ask this, Nick. Kelvin, are you there? All right, no, he's not there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask Nick. I'm gonna flip it a little bit. I was gonna leave the coaching side of it and having to talk about the NCAA 25 because I saw that he was so active early on and with the rosters and everything. Just kind of talk about your impression of that the product number one. Then you putting together a FAMU squad and a league and all that. Just talk about that.
All right. So it's only funny because I was just at a UFL combine and I didn't think a lot of people recognize because my Twitter isn't my actual this thing you see it isn't my name. It's public enemy
Yeah.
number one. Because everybody on Twitter feel like I just come for them. So it was a kid, Travion Pratt from Morgan State. He was asking me, he was like, that was your Twitter, right? He's asking me about it. And basically, since I've been a kid, I've loved designing football stuff. Like you can ask my mom, like I was a kid, like as much as I give Deion Sanders crap and stuff on Twitter, I used to lay everything I was gonna wear out in a game at the foot of my bed or on the floor. I used to lay everything out, and I used to try everything on, make sure everything looked right. So when college football introduced Team Builder online, you could build your own team. Back in the day, I used to make Godby. I used to make my high school and put them in Road to Glory, and I used to make all the other high schools and play against them because I just had time. I'm a kid. I had time on my hands. So right now, we're in summer. I'm gonna be a substitute teacher this fall. I'm gonna be coaching. I don't have to work right now. My work right now is football practice, so I have a lot of free time. So it dropped on. I think it dropped like the day that the game actually released, like either that Thursday or that Friday it dropped. I was on the phone with Kamari. We're on FaceTime, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to help me with this?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, he asked me first. He was like, "What team are you doing?" He was like, "You gonna do the 2023 team? You gonna do the 24?" I was like, "Dude," I was like, "A lot of people may not like this, but I'm just gonna do a compilation of my favorite players I played with, and some of my friends. Like you, my friend, you my dog for real. I'm gonna put you in the game. Put you on. I'm gonna make sure that you have a player to play with." So I made it. I made FAMU. It wasn't really hard. It's real easy. They be like, it's not super hard. Nah, it's not super easy, but it's not super hard either. It's kind of in the middle. It's like you have to have some attention to detail and you have to have some patience because there's a lot of people on the website, so it's not going to go super fast. But I made them, imported them. Everything went smooth. And as far as the game, excuse me, it's offensive powered, of course. But college football is offensive powered. Now there are some bugs. Of course, there are some bugs. There are people complaining, and they'll probably send out a patch or an update to fix it. And there are some players everybody is quote unquote saying they're overpowered. Well, I would tell people this: if you want to talk about how people like, there's more likely that a player is going to be overpowered in college football. That's how I feel. You can't tell me Zaylan wasn't overpowered when we played. You can't tell me like 20 sacks. 20 sacks. Like, that's a cheat code. That's video game numbers in real life. Randy Moss had 50 something touchdowns in 2 years of like these are like college football produces more video game numbers than the NFL. So if you're mad that in Madden you can't just take over with somebody, well, I'm sorry. Like there are very few people that just have ridiculous years that you could just take over. Like if we had HBCU, like they released that HBCU football game, I want everybody to know, you probably would have been able to throw the ball to Zay Smith every time. And it would work. You'd be able to throw the ball to Marcus Riley, throw a go ball, throw a deep ball, and he'd run by everybody. Like at this level, if you look, there were dudes that would take over a football game. Kamari Avery at Bethune was unstoppable. He was unstoppable. You throw the ball up to him, he's going to catch it every time. So when people are complaining like Quinshawn Judkins is overpowered at Ohio State or Caleb Downs is overpowered, just think about your favorite college football team. Think about the best player that was on that team in recent memory and just think to yourself, was he stoppable? Like, could you go into a game and somebody game plan and just stop him? Because my favorite player in recent memory was Dalvin Cook at Florida State, and it wasn't nobody stopping him.
No, that's true.
Nobody. Not a soul was stopping him. When I was at FAMU, there was nobody that stopped Isaiah Land. He had 5 sacks in back-to-back weeks. I just want people to know that. Like, so if you're upset that people are overpowered, look at real life and tell the real football players that are out there to play better and stop people. You upset that this dude going crazy. It happens in real life. Like everybody mad. Travis Hunter goes crazy whenever they can get him the ball. Ain't nobody mad at Travis Hunter go crazy on the video game because he's a fan favorite. Like y'all upset, y'all picking and choosing. Maybe you didn't know this dude was like that in real life, and now you're finding out in the video game. Because I'll be honest, I had no idea who Ollie Gordon was. The kid at Oklahoma State, I had no idea who he was as a running back. Played against him online, went to YouTube, watched his highlight tape. I'm not upset that he's really good in the video game. I'm not mad. I watched Jeremiah Smith play in his state championship game. I watched him play in Bryan. He's a man amongst boys. Like, you upset? You just don't play. You haven't been on the football field then. Like, you haven't seen that some people are like, I forgot who told me. My trainer, his name Travis Norton. He said you're from Tallahassee, you might know him. He went to Lincoln and went to Louisville. Travis, he always tells everybody that we work out where he say, all men are not created equal. That's a lie they tell you. All men are not created equal. There are some people who are going to just be physically better than you. That don't mean that they're going to be a better football player, but they might just be physically better than you. But the game, I like the game. You're not gonna see me just mad about the game, or it's a video game. It's fun to have somebody that's overpowered. Y'all played with Bo Jackson back in the day on Tecmo Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Bo Jackson was unstoppable. I watched my dad. I think my dad played against him when Auburn played Florida State. He drugged Deion Sanders 7 yards.
He did.
Deion Sanders is the GOAT. He might not know. Like, people say Deion Sanders can't tackle this and that. Deion Sanders would tackle if he had to. Like, people love to say he wouldn't tackle this and that. And I'm not even like the biggest fan of him as a coach. But as a football player, people be like, oh, he wouldn't tackle. He would tackle. He would tackle. Y'all try to clown him because he couldn't tackle. Who else could just tackle Bo Jackson one-on-one? Nobody. But yeah, the game is good. I'm right as soon as this is over, I'm gonna go out here, I'm gonna do these dishes, and I'm gonna get on the game.
My man said I'm gonna do these dishes, and look, that's a PSA to all the kids out there. All the kids.
I'm gonna just jump in back in the day, and I know, boy, this nigga's probably before you were born, maybe, but Kelvin knows that we actually had something like this like 20 years ago. Because me, Floyd Hill, I don't know if you know Floyd, he's one of alumni, and he started the MEAC fans message board, and one of my boys did exactly what you did because they had stopped making this is way back when they had college sports for the PC because that's the only way you could play online because I don't think the game consoles are online yet. And the thing about it with the EA College Sports is we got tired because we would play with fan, we would play. They had the HBCUs in it, but it's like, dang, you try to play somebody, everybody's got D grade, your team's got a D grade. So what we did is we came up with a scheme. Basically, it was like team builder. We took Madden 2001 with Eddie George on the cover. Ironically enough, now he's Tennessee State's coach, and we created the whole MEAC at the time, SWAC, CIAA, and
And it's a ball to play with, ain't it? It's just
it
fun.
is. And we put it in a zip file. You could download it. We just called it Madden BCF because we used the Madden engine, and we created a point scheme based on your team. So like if you had all conference players the year before, or if you were number one or you number one defense, so your defensive players got high rankings, 1 through whatever. And it was fun. It was fun. But plus, I mean, think about it, this is like 2001, so it was hard getting graphics. You had to eyeball the colors, but it was fun.
I'll tell y'all now, the dudes that are really good on the team I built, Marquise Bella's on there, so he's really good. Of course, he's in the NFL. He's really good. Zayland is on there. He's really good. He's in the NFL. Xavier Smith is on there. He's really good. He's in the NFL. Marcus Riley's on there. Really good. He's a friend of mine. I've known Marcus since I was 5 years old. Both from Tallahassee, from 2 different sides of town. It's funny. We have been rivals since Pop Warner. I played at the Canopy Oaks Rams. He played for the Woodville Jaguars. He went to NIMS. I went to Cobb. We never played on teams that liked each other. And when he was at Bethune, we used to always have our little side bets about the game. And I used to tell him, like, you might as well just come to fam. Came to fam. So he's on the team. Kamari's a high overall. Kamari, a 4-year starter. He's really good. Terrell's in the NFL. He's on there. He's really good. Isaiah Major's on there. Kendall Bowler's on there. BJ Bowler's on there. A lot of people may not remember the name. I feel like everybody should. Courtney Cox is on there. My friend Chico, that was what we call him. Courtney Cox, he's on there. Javen Morgan, he's on. My starting defense, I don't want to do this, actually. I was going to tell y'all my start. I can't give y'all my starting defense because it's some people that may be upset with me. It's some people that may be upset because they didn't make the team. But my starting defense, I'm telling you, it ain't a team in the SWAC that'll score on them. Ain't a team in the SWAC that'll score on the DBs and linebackers and D-line I put together from the time I've been at FAMU.
Sound like Marcus, sound like that dynasty league you were talking about. It's time to take we got to find a way to put Nick's team against somebody else that thinks they've created a great team from their other school.
I'm telling you, I got nothing but the best, cream of the crop.
All right, that sounds like a project we got to work on. Nick, I'm gonna before you go, let me get you out of here with
you want to talk FAMU football?
I know. I want to get a FAMU football question in before we go. So let me ask about the when I sit here and I look at this receiving core for this year.
Okay.
It's a lot of guys who I mean, outside of Jamari Gassett, who we do feel like we know a lot about. He got some very well recognized in the preseason All SWAC. A lot of names that aren't familiar to Rattler Nation. Give us, if you can, give us maybe a short note, and we'll come back to this a little bit later with you later in the season prior to the first game. But who are some of the names in this receiving core that caught your attention that we should pay attention to? Or if you want to pivot and go to more talking about the offense this year, you could do that as well.
So I'll go whole offense. I'll do whole offense. A lot of people have questions. I feel like Junior should be the starting quarterback. I feel, from what I know and from what I have seen, I would take Junior in the battle. I would rock out with Junior at quarterback. Kelvin Dean. Y'all call him Kelvin Dean. Kelvin Dean would be my starting running back. I feel like JP and Kobe Gross are the 2 tight ends. I feel like JP can have a really, really good year. I feel like he's taking the necessary steps to be really big. I feel like he can be a really big receiving threat. He's 6'5", 6'4", 225. He runs like the wind. Kobe is a natural catcher of the ball, but he's of the 2, he may be more of a dog blocking. Both of them are dogs, but he may be more of the nasty O-lineman kind of vibe, as far as he's like a crash out. I feel like Jamari Gassett can go for 1,000 yards. If we if we don't just throw it to everybody every other play, but it's like if you game plan to get one kid the ball, I feel like Jamari can go for 1,000 yards. He's a slot receiver. It's easier to kind of game plan to get a slot receiver the ball because they're closer to the ball. And it's not many times. If you double them, there are some guys. They got a kid from Middle Tennessee that I've heard great things about. There's a kid, Bell.
Jalen Ward.
Yeah, Jalen Ward. I've heard great things about him so far. He wears number 3 right now. There's a kid, Bell. I think his name is Marquez Bell or something like that. I know about him. He's from Lake City, Columbia. I watched him play Lincoln a good amount of times. He's really good. I feel like he may not have got the shot he wanted at the other schools, and I understand that. I completely understand. I don't feel like I got the shot I wanted until my senior year. So I understand transferring. I don't want people to feel like, oh, these guys are transferring. They might. I mean, Marcus Riley was a transfer. Nobody thought he was really bad. I feel like if I had to bet on somebody to just pop out the group of like new people, I would trust Marquez Bell because I've seen him play. I've watched him play. I feel like he's good. The O-line should be fantastic.
Yeah.
It should. We only lost Cam Coven. O-line should be stout. Ashton Grable, I'm telling y'all, he's a monster. Ashton Grable is Jalen Goss, vocal leader, really good. He's strong on the outside. I would have loved to be able to play another year with these guys. And if you're going whole team, the linebacker core, I want everybody to understand. I am stamping Eric Horn. I hope he sees this. Eric Horn, kid from Iowa State. He played at Raines High School in Jacksonville. That's my mom's high school. I played Eric in high school and Eric's a year younger than me. First play of the game, he knocked our star running back out the game completely. Flatlined him out the game. And it was kind of hard because he was our third backer in. He was our wheel backer. We have a nickel back in a lot of times. So his reps weren't what he wanted to last year. I know that he didn't have the reps he wanted because, you got Chaney. He's now a Power 5 linebacker. And Isaiah Major was Defensive Player of the Year. I am doting on him to have a really good year. I feel like Allen Smith have a really, really good year. Allen is a real freak athlete. Everybody knows Kendall Bowler, lockdown corner. I feel like Kendall will be good. Andre Powell is a kid at safety. I feel like everybody should be on the lookout for. Athletic freak. He's probably runs a 4.4. He cleans about 325 pounds, can squat the house, and he's a good kid. All these people are good kids. But when I say good kid, Dre Powell is like, he's probably a dude people will be like, it's me. Like, really good kid, great, know how to talk to people, this, that, third. Deco Wilson, kid came from Jacksonville State. I like Deco. Natural catcher of the ball. Real. He has a knack for being around the ball. Amari Lee from UCF. If I had to bet, I would bet it would be Amari Lee and Kendall Bowler. Kendall would probably be to the field. Amari would be to the boundary just because Kendall's a little bit twitchier and faster. Jamil Sanders from USF. Rocking with him. I hosted him. I am the quote unquote host of just hosts. Every kid I've ever hosted every kid I have ever hosted. No. Y'all laughing. Every kid I have ever hosted that could have got into FAMU and passed everything to get in has came. I have never had a kid not come on a visit and not commit. Coach Simmons can vouch. Anybody can vouch. Every kid. But Jamil played at USF. He didn't have. I feel like from what I've seen, I feel like going against their DBs last year, I feel like he should have been on the field over some of those guys. Of course, everybody knows James Ash, monster, one of the strongest humans I've ever seen. I don't know the schedule, like the exact schedule. Of course,
we're gonna bring you back. We're gonna bring you back on to talk about this when we get into the schedule and the season breakdown. We're gonna bring you back to talk about that.
Look, I just say this: the only game I give them that they on paper should lose is University of Miami. We should have beat USF last year as a team. We had 5 turnovers as a team. That's why we lost. We didn't lose because USF was a better football team than us. We were a better football team than USF. I feel like it's the same with them going to Troy. I know 2 kids that are at Troy right now. They're good kids, good football players. I feel like they would have to fight to get on the field at FAMU. So I feel like outside of UM, there isn't a game we should lose. I know everybody. If we go to Jackson this year, I want everybody from Jackson. I will be at Jackson with these 2 rings and my national my national championship ring that they couldn't get. This time I will have my national championship ring and these 2 rings on. When I go, I'm gonna drive to Jackson. I'm gonna make sure I get there. I'm gonna be on the sidelines and also. If y'all want to see who I am, this is my face. This is me. I will be at Jackson. I'm going to come because I have 100% faith. And if Junior shakes out and is not the starting quarterback, the kid number 10, Daniel Richardson, he's I feel like he's more of a football player than a quarterback. I feel like he's an athlete back there. I feel like he's not like super fast, super twitchy, but he's a good athlete. I feel like, and he's from Miami. Y'all know Miami quarterbacks, kids that come out of Miami, they can play more than one position. So I feel like that's how he is. But I would take Junior, have Wu at the back, and have those. I feel like Jamari Gass is going to have a really big year. I do.
All right.
Him and Junior have always had in practice, him and Junior always had a good connection. Because it was me, Jamari Shareed, and Marcus that started last year. So when you get that two group in there, you kind of see who likes who. Junior likes throwing Jamari the ball. Jamari likes catching the ball. So, it's a perfect match. I feel like they should repeat this year. That's just me. If I didn't feel like they would repeat this year, I would tell y'all. I'm not a kid that's just I'm not the friend that's just gonna ride with you just to ride with you. I'm gonna let you know if you're wrong. I feel like they should repeat. I haven't seen because I keep track. I know that Alabama State has Andrew Body, this, that, the third. You have to throw the ball to win. If you're gonna be a quarterback, you have to throw the ball to win. He's a really good dude. He's a really good athlete. I don't feel like he throws the football well enough to beat our football team. I don't think Texas Southern's going to spoil homecoming. And everybody's talking about Bethune. It's Bethune. I don't really think. Like, those are the games. Like, Jackson, I know Jackson. Jackson is the game that's going to decide a lot.
Alabama State.
Alabama State is going to decide because we go to Alabama State. We go to Jackson. Those are the two games that might get you. I don't see we haven't lost that Bragg since 2019. I don't think Cozy's gonna let that. Like, Cozy's a great head coach. He's a great dude, great head coach. The offensive coaches, I've seen what they're doing. It's a good offense. Like, don't think just because Coach Simmons is gone, the offense is just gonna plummet downhill. Like, it's still FAMU. We still have a high power offense. We still have great athletes. We are in Florida, so we're gonna have speed. Like, I don't think people understand that. Like, you could throw a rock out the stadium, hit a kid from Tallahassee, and he's fast. He's just naturally faster and quicker than a dude if you throw a rock out of Alabama State Stadium and hit a kid in Alabama. Like, so, I mean, it's true.
All right.
But I like FAMU to lose one game this year at the max 2 because Troy is going to be probably the most even matched game talent wise. And Coach AC always says talent is not enough. So don't look at the roster and just think talent isn't enough. So from what I know and from because I still talk to dudes on the team, of course, I'm 1 year removed. I talked to Wu the other day. I feel like he can have a 1,000-yard season. I feel like we can have a 1,000-yard receiver, 1,000-yard running back. If we give Wu, I don't know how many carries he had last year. But if he has 100 carries, he should go for 1,000. If he has 100+ carries, he should go for 1,000 yards. The kid, Bo Somerset, really good football player. He's kind of like Azende Ray, if y'all remember Azende.
Yeah.
He's kind of like Azende Ray. They're not gonna put him at Wildcat and just put him back there. I feel like Wildcat quarterback is the dumbest thing in football. I feel like you have a quarterback for a reason. But I feel like he's really good, and I feel like he's going to take a step to get in. They got the kid Thad Franklin. They got Jacquez Yant. We have a load. We're loaded everywhere. It's like you're going to be scratching and crawling to get on the field at FAMU. So when you see the final product on the field, realize that these are the best of a really good bunch of people. Like, I don't think people understand that. Like, there are other places in the SWAT. Like, I go to Valley. Them starters may not be the same. Like, everybody's starting lineup not the same in the SWAC. And that's just what it is. You could throw a stone at me. You could talk crazy. My Twitter DM's open. You could talk to me all you want. The starting 22 players at Mississippi Valley are not going to be the same as the starting 22 players at FAMU. They're not going to be the same as the starting 22 at Jackson State. Same for Texas Southern. Same for PV. Even though they keep making it. I don't know how they keep making it out the West. I don't know how they keep making it out the West. They need to
about the West.
They need to redo the district, though. I think they need to put Jackson in the West. Like that's the game everybody want to see. Everybody want to see Jackson versus FAMU. Everybody loves seeing that, or Southern versus FAMU. Southern in the West.
No, yes, but we play them every year. There are
See, I don't understand. Right. I just don't understand how Southern not making it out the West End. See, that might just be a coaching issue there, because there's no reason PV should be making it out the West. I want y'all to know that. I played PV twice in 1 year, and I think they scored a maximum of 21 points. I think that's the max they scored, 21 points. I don't know, but I know we scored at least 60 or 70. Like out of them 2 games. I know one game we put up like 40 or 50. So I feel like the SWAC is gonna be. I don't think it's a toss up like everybody trying to say. Like y'all talked about, it was, what are we? Somebody picked us to finish second.
Oh yeah, you'll see the various poll rankings.
Yeah,
you'll see them coming up shortly.
Is that not crazy, y'all? You win a national championship, and they put you second.
Some didn't even have a second, but that's all right. Right. We'll talk about it coming up shortly.
What more do they want to? Like, what more do they want us to do?
Well, we'll find out.
When Nick, our next guest is one of those people who didn't rank us in the top 3, but I'm sure they're going to point to
let them know.
New head coach and new quarterback.
He's saying new head coach who was just on the staff. Like he just look. Everybody,
you ain't gotta convince us.
Everybody would look. This all I say. Everybody was still vouching for Jackson State with TC Taylor. Everybody was still vouching for them though. They lost their whole roster. Like they lost over 25 players. All 11 starters on offense. All 11 starters on defense. And people still picked them to finish top of the SWAC with a new head coach. And the only thing they can say about their head coach, he wasn't a winner anywhere else but Jackson as a position coach. He got bumped up to be the head coach. And what, y'all trying to learn y'all lesson from Jackson? Nah, give us the same, you feel me? Let us have that same blessing. I'm rocking with the guys. Let the guy look, it feels good though, but I know it feels good to like look at that ranking and see your number 1 though. Like did they just not want us to feel that blessing? Like that really hurt. That hurt my feelings when I was scrolling on Twitter. And I was like, dang. Like it made me feel like we didn't put enough work. Like, I want people to know Coach Simmons believed in respecting people. Like he believed in, all right, guys, we're gonna just run the ball now. We're up. So I want everybody to know the Willie Simmons era is gone. So if a dude roll out there and put 60 on y'all, don't be like we classless now or this and that. Like I want y'all to know, y'all lit the fire. Like y'all lit the fire. Y'all tried us. We won the Natty last year. Who even know throw a pick 6? Let them go up, throw a pick 6, and then we just come back and win. Who you know do that? Y'all the flea flicker for game. And y'all think the play's just gone? Y'all think Willie just packed up, was like, all right, guys, you can't run none of this no more. Like, come on. We have to think, people. Like, I don't think these HBCU spaces or the people that's picking, I don't think they thinking. Like, and it's not even me, because I'm like, if Jackson was FAMU last year and like they had all that and did that and they put Jackson at number 2, I'd be like, yeah, y'all are tripping. Like, Jackson should be 1. But no, we finally get to the dance because everybody was stressing, oh, y'all always lose that game. Like, look, when I was just at a UFL combine, it was a kid from NCAT there talking to me, kid from JSU there talking to me, kid from, I don't even know, it was a kid from Morgan State talking crazy. I'm like, I wish y'all could have like experienced Atlanta. I experienced it though. Like, dude for NCAT talking, I'm knowing y'all left the family, y'all left the HBCU family, haven't been the same since. Morgan State was talking, I'm knowing, never heard of Morgan State winning, ever. I don't know if they ever been winners. Brett Jackson was talking, I'm knowing, I have your ring on the way. The ring that you're talking about, I have that on the way. Our national championship rings, we're going to get them the first home game. Like, I have them on the way. It was a kid from South Carolina State talking, I'm knowing, you won a national championship, but got spanked by us. Look, this ring, they gave us this ring for that year. The NCAA gave us these. Think about that. Even the NCAA said in 2021, even though you didn't play in the quote unquote, even though, because I don't know if y'all remember when I was on Oscar and I said the Celebration Bowl is not the national championship. It's technically not, We don't play it outright. We play MEAC versus SWAC. It's not an outright national championship. The NCAA recognizes us as the HBCU national champions of 2021. I want everybody to know that. So everybody can talk about South Carolina State this, South Carolina State that, whoever y'all are. Y'all got a belt put on y'all. Y'all came to brag. 2022, I will give Jackson State their credit. They whooped us. They outright whooped us. It was hot. I was mad. I just got cleared. I was on the sidelines. I was mad. Them boys out there throwing up their wrists, eating wings on the sideline. Shadur and them was looking good. They was chains on. They were feeling great. I'm gonna let you know now yes, I was hating on the SWAT when they went to Atlanta. I was a North Carolina Central fan, and they lost. So if anybody wants to talk to me, any former player, any old head, or any fan, I want you to know.
I'll put it up here again. That's how you can find Nick.
Yeah, there we go.
Nick
guys,
up on Twitter, on X.
This is my Twitter. If you want to screenshot the chat, these are my rings. We won. Look, unless you're Grambling, and y'all won when I was in like middle school with Devontae Kincaid, like y'all won back in the day. I'm gonna call that back in the day because the young kids now feel like that was way back in the day. I want y'all to know, FAMU is top dog. We won it. We put the SWAC on our back. You know, we kept losing. Y'all kept losing to the MEAC. We came over from the MEAC. We grabbed all y'all. We said, hey, come hop on the charter bus with us. Come hop on the bus. We got y'all. We'll go to Atlanta and we'll win. Who you know? One appearance, one win. That's the only Celebration Bowl appearance we have. We're 1-0. Jackson 0-2. Our corn like 0. I don't know what our corn 0 something.
Don't do that, Nick. Don't do that.
I'm saying
we know. All right, Nick.
Brian, I'm saying you gotta think about that. But it's been fun. I know I'm taking up a lot of time. It's been fun, guys. I always love coming on. You know,
we love having you. Yeah,
hey, we love having you. We're gonna want you back again and more. We're gonna try to do some special things with Nick, preseason stuff. Maybe a little film breakdown of some other games. So you guys be on the lookout for that kind of stuff. Again, make sure to reach out to Nick on X, __. Throw it up to 88. And we always look forward to Nick's commentary. Nick, we love you, man. Thank you, man. Be well.
And nobody has a jersey that was a winning jersey. Everybody have a blessed day. I hope everybody had a good week. I hope everybody has a great time. You know, I want everybody to have blessed. And thank y'all for having me on. I really appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you, Nick. Thank you, brother. All right. Wow. Man, I tell you. Shots fired. Okay. We're behind schedule. I know I got Stan Becton waiting. Stan, we appreciate you waiting on for us. Let me go right to Stan Becton because our next guest is not only a good friend of the program. We've had him on before. Yeah. Stan Becton of the NCAA.com. Well, Stan, I didn't set it up that way. I swear.
No. You're right. You're right.
Didn't set it up that way.
Stan, you got to tell us what you thought of that last segment.
Man, y'all keep putting me on after some. Y'all had me after Willie Simmons one time. Now y'all got me after him. Y'all got me after. I always got a hard act to follow. Every episode I'm on with you guys, man.
You know, it's not done intentionally, man, but it's a good setup though. We try to give you a good intro. You know, it takes a good intro so that way the audience is engaged and setting you up here. Okay, so look, you heard Nick talking about the previous award and the recognition. Talk a little bit about how, obviously for those who aren't familiar, Nick of Stan of NCAA.com oversees the power rankings for the HBCU preseason and the regular season. You kind of track it during the year. Talk a little bit about the process. Before we talk about the teams, I want you to talk about the process that goes into evaluating the teams as they head into the preseason or really coming out of the end of last season, heading into the upcoming year.
Well, it gets harder and harder every year. Like the difference between 2021 to 2022 and now 2023 to 2024, it's way different because the transfer portal, as you guys know, is just decimating FCS and HBCU teams so much more over the years, especially with these COVID years and whatnot. So that's part of it. You have to go through the rosters. You have to go see who's transferred, who's coming in, and evaluate that way. So when evaluating, what I try to do is I try to take a good look at who's coming back first and foremost, who's coming back. Then I try to look at key positions, so quarterback, line, on offense and defense, the trenches, because that's something that translates across year to year. And then the secondary, because can you stop the run with the D line? Can you stop the pass with the D line? And then can you get some coverage sacks, good coverage on the back end? So I look at all those positions first, then I fill out the rest of the roster, look at those positions, and then I look at how teams did last year, and I also look at the schedule and where do you play at home, where do you play on the road. So it's a combination of both projecting forward and also evaluating where these teams are right now. So it's a combination of both. It's not entirely this is where the team's going to finish this year, and it's not entirely this is where I think they are right now. It's a mix of both.
All right. Any other question before I flash up the rankings? Kelvin, Marcus, any questions that you want to ask Stan before we get into these rankings?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, just elaborate a little bit on what you mentioned just before. And thanks for coming on, Stan. When you're evaluating teams, especially in the last couple of years, the transfer portal has basically become free agency. How detailed can you get in terms of team analysis when there's so much flux, and you can even have last minute transfers up until preseason camp?
Yeah, that's a good point. Because, for example, one of my good friends I used to work out with back when I was playing just transferred to Morgan State from Bowie State and was starting at Bowie State there and transferred there. So that was literally Monday. So transfers are still going on. So when it comes to evaluating those transfers, right, when people transfer down from FBS, part of it is you have to look at these beat reporters from these institutions, look at the words coming out from the players from all sorts of angles, see what you can find, and try to follow it throughout the offseason, spring ball especially, see those reports and try to keep track of those and see how those guys who transfer down are performing and who's winning jobs, who's coming in and having an impact right away. But then at the same time, when I look at the guys transferring down from FBS ahead of the season, I like to kind of just say, okay, they're transferring down for a reason. It's not always a bad reason, right? But sometimes they didn't play as much where they were at their previous stop. So you can't just say, oh, he transferred from an FBS school, so we have to factor that in as okay, that's going to be an immediate high impact player, because you have our guys from HBCUs and FCS schools transferring up and having an immediate impact over the guys who've been on those teams for multiple years. So you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt. And I don't want to knock all the FBIs transferring down right away, but I also don't want to say okay, this school just got this former 4-star receiver, but he was a former 4-star 3 years ago, and he's not a 4-star right now. He was a 4-star 3 years ago. It's been 3 years since that ranking. So what has he done during that time? You can't really say he's going to jump right in automatically.
Okay, thank you.
Stan, do you also cover FCS as well? I couldn't recall whether you also focus in on FCS as well. You do, don't you?
Yep. So I cover all hundreds. I don't even know how many teams it is. It's too many. Too many teams.
It's in the one. Let me see. I'm basing off on where Valley was ranked, rated. It's about 128, 127, somewhere in there. And I'm only basing that on, of course, I hate to say it, I'm basing that on Valley because I think they're down there. But anyway, so I guess my question was going to go towards, when you look at HBCUs in that pot with other FCS schools, where are we this year? Where are the HBCUs? I know I seen one publication put FAMU ranked 20th in their FCS top 25. I haven't seen the others yet. So, but where do you, whomever your top, we'll talk about who your top team is, but when you look at HBCUs amongst the top FCS, where do you, who's comparable? Who fits into that mold of, if we were taking our best and putting our best in the playoffs, would be really competitive this year? Or who do you think might be competitive this year?
Yeah, I would say the top 5 teams that I put in my power rankings this year would definitely be within that kind of, top 40, top 45 teams in the FCS this year. And then the top team in my rankings, I haven't finished my preseason top 25. I'll be a stats perform top 25 poll voter this year for the first time. So I'm actually working on those and we'll have those out tomorrow. I'm going to be transparent with those rankings throughout the entire year and release those in an article every year before the poll, because it's not required like the AP poll. So you don't get to see everyone's poll. But I'm like, if I'm voting, I want the fans to know that these are who the teams I picked. I don't want people saying like, oh, who did you pick to be this one? Like, no, you guys can know who I picked this time. And if it doesn't work out in the poll that is exactly the same, y'all just know who I thought would pick that one. And in mine right now, in that bottom half of the rankings, the bottom 5 teams of the 25, I am trying to figure out which HBCU lands in there and whatnot. But I haven't got I got the top 15 done. I'm not procrastinating too much because the rankings aren't due till I think Friday. So I have 2 more days, but I want to get them out tomorrow. So I have to get these last 10 teams organized. But I think the top team should definitely be considered for that top 25 for sure. I think this year it is a little bit harder because it's more it's not as clear which team should be the top team entering the year as in past years in HBCU football. So it's a little harder. And that's why if I had to guess, I would say there probably won't be an HBCU in that top 25 to start the season. But I wouldn't be surprised if after week 1 there's an HBCU in that top 25, especially given the schedules.
All right. So here we go. Here's Stan's top 10. There it is right there. The NCAA.com preseason power rankings from 10 to 1. Grambling State at 10. Alcorn at 9. Morgan State at 8. Prairie View at 7. Of course, Alcorn preseason number 1 on the West as voted in the SWAC. But Prairie View comes in at 7. Tennessee State 6. Florida A&M at 5. Howard at 4. Jackson State 3, Central, North Carolina Central number 2, and Alabama State number 1. Why Alabama State number 1? Let's start there, Stan.
I think that defense for Alabama State, I think you can count on to be really good. And I think that's at every level of that defense. So that really helped push them to number 1. And then I think their offensive line should be solid and their running game should be solid. And I like the addition of Andrew Body. He did play in the SWAC, so that was a little bit of a difference because you've seen him play against the same competition he's going to play against this year. So
I didn't hear you. You're on mute.
Can't hear you.
You're on mute, Kelvin.
SWAC West. It wasn't the SWAC East.
It is a SWAC West. It is a SWAC West. That is true. That is true. But but I'm saying he still played against the competition. And you gotta, no offense to Texas Southern, but playing with the talent at Texas Southern on offense is a little bit different than playing with the talent I think Alabama State will have this year on offense. So I think with that addition and with quarterback being a real issue, I think he'll provide some stability, and I don't think he has to necessarily be a game changer at Alabama State for them to be really good this year. I think he just be like a game manager who makes like a few timely plays, and that can take them to where they want to go. So I think entering the year, that's the biggest reason they're number 1.
Again, putting it back up, already drawing some instant reactions from people. Central, I'll tell you what's interesting to me. Jackson State being 3 and FAM being 5. Now, what I find interesting, look, what is it that you see in Jackson State that I'm gonna try to take off this orange hat I got on? What do you see in Jackson State that you like or feel a little bit higher on Jackson State than FAMU?
Well, I just think that 1, they're in year 2 with TC Taylor, and then 2, I think that offense, everything they have coming back, especially I like their quarterback coming back in the way he finished out last season. Plus, he still has Irv Mulligan coming back from injury, who was really good before he got hurt. And then they still have Rigo Powers on the outside and a couple other weapons as well. So I think together with that offense and then that secondary, they still have a lot of dogs back there making plays, especially at safety and in the slot and nickel. So I think that offense really was what pushed them over the edge. I think their returners is what gives them that early advantage to be number 3.
Kelvin, Marcus, any questions you got there? Go jump in.
Central. Why Central at 2? Central lost a lot.
Central did lose a lot, but they do have Trey Oliver still there, and their offensive line is still very good. They have a lot of pieces. They lost 3 really good offensive linemen, but the guys they have bringing in did play a little bit last year. And then Walker Harris, it was against Valley, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But what he was doing against Valley in that game was pretty impressive, and it gives me confidence in that offense. In that running that offense, he'll have good command of that offense right away. And I think that defense you can count on to be solid. Also, they play in the MEAC, so that's another factor of it, the schedule that they're playing. So, like I said, it's a little bit of projecting as well. So they're playing that MEAC, and I think that for them to not, if they don't win the MEAC this year, even with everything they lost, that's still a disappointing season because of their schedule. They should be good in that conference too. So it's a little bit of saying like, okay, this team can finish this high, and it's a little bit of saying this is how good they are right now.
When you look at the non-conference of the MEAC teams, and obviously you've got Central at 2, Howard at 4, do you feel like their non-conference schedule, obviously they play 6 or 7 games in the non-conference, so that means it's half their season. And I think last year they had a team go to the Central to go to the playoffs. So the way their schedule is set up in the conference, whoever doesn't go to the Celebration Bowl, if they have a good season, has a shot at going to the playoffs. Do you feel, is this a similar year that a second team could get some postseason play out of this MEAC?
I think so, but it really just depends on how they do against these FCS non-conference. Because I know, for example, just a quick looking back what I remember from Howard's schedule, I think they play a couple FBS teams as well, and it really depends on how they do against those teams. And then it also depends how those teams that they play do. For example, when FAMU missed in South Carolina, just decided to stink up the place, what is that, 2022? That's part of the reason they missed it, because the team they played didn't do good, so it hurt their strength of schedule. So it's partially, it depends what those teams do after they would beat them in this situation.
Let me bring this up because I think this is interesting. We talked about this. This is the matrix I put together of so far all of the rankings so far that have come out. Yours and HBCU Game Days kind of came out back to back, going from left to right. Obviously, Box to Rose came out first. I find it interesting when I look at not only just FAMU, the difference in opinions or ratings for FAMU. You see a couple of polls have us first. A couple of them has us anywhere from 3rd to 5th. When you look at just in a broad perspective, as it relates to FAMU, what's your thought, Stan, when you see so far the first 5 rankings that have come out, when you see FAMU varied from 1 to 5, and then when you see three different teams have a number 1 ranking, what's your thoughts on that just in general?
I think, like I said, to start it off, that transfer portal is the reason for this. Like, there's not enough consistency coming back for all these teams to really kind of, say these are like, I think everyone can have an idea who these top 5, top 6, top 7 teams are. That's like, who's going to be good, but you just don't know how good they're going to be. So like for FAMU specifically, they have a lot of pieces they brought in. I mean, they're always active in the portal, getting guys in. And as you see last year, those guys perform. But I think for me with FAMU, they just lost key pieces. Like, for example, who's going to rush the passer? I know you guys have Smith over there who can get after him, but last year he didn't really do this. He wasn't the primary guy. That was Dunn and Hunt, who are both gone. So, like, that was always a key of you guys' defense. And then quarterback, of course, part of it is a little bit, back in when you guys had, what's the guy's name? That
Sean
first
McKay.
year. Yes. When y'all had that quarterback controversy,
That was a controversy? That was a controversy?
Was it that first week against Jackson State?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
he got
that
banned.
that was. Yo.
7-6. I remember y'all would have won the SWAC 7-6. Y'all could have got a field goal, but it's just like part of it is a little hesitation because seeing that part of it's you guys have a new head coach as well, so that's no quarterback, no head coach, and you got your offensive line is great, so I think that will help whoever gets behind center, and Kelvin Dean is great as well, so whoever gets behind center and takes that job, there's no excuse for him not to perform because it had the guys around him. But I think it's just entering the season. Those are unknowns, right? You don't know exactly how long it's going to take for Coach Cozy to get in there and get things firing on all cylinders. The schedule does work in you guys' favor, Norfolk State and South Carolina State. So, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people have FAMU come up to number 1 by the time week 1 is over, but it just depends on, are you guys going to play like FAMU did last year where you guys would go out and dominate? Or are you guys just going to, win the game? So I think that's what you don't know. You don't know exactly how good they're going to be. Like, I would not pick FAMU to lose any of their first 2 games because I think they're going to be good. But at the same time, I don't know if they're going to be dominant like they would. Because if it's a close win, that's how a top 5 team would do. They'll win the games they're supposed to win. But if it's like your number 1 team, they're going to come out and they're going to show that they're the number 1 team.
If FAMU had made the decision coming out of spring as to who QB1 would be, and obviously you heard Nick Dixon previously, he backs Junior Muratovic. I think some people on this show back Muratovic. I think some others back Daniel Richardson. But if a decision had already been made going into fall camp, would the opinions that are so varied about FAMU, do you think they'd be different?
I don't think so, just because, you just have to see them play on the field as well. So I don't think it would be. I think it would, if I would probably put them, at 4 in my rankings if the decision was made, if it was Junior. If it was Junior, they'd be at 4. If it was Richardson, probably still at 5 just because you haven't seen them do it. And you haven't seen them do it with these coaches yet. Junior's been a little bit under these coaches, even though it's a new head coach. It's a little bit of the same. I'm assuming it will be a little bit of the same offense there, but probably not, just because I think the 1 and 2 for me is just, that's probably the top 2 teams, should be the top 2 teams entering the year, just because of what they have from a consistency wise standpoint coming back and things of that nature. But I think, if they had, I feel like Jackson State for me is like a toss-up, but I actually looked at my rankings last year, listening to Nick a little bit before. Jackson State was ranked number 5 last year too.
Okay.
And yeah, in my rankings, they were ranked number 5 coming off of their SWAC winning season last year too. So I think that's about a good range for all the losses. I think I didn't know this when I did my rankings. I didn't really look at where I did teams last year, but like after the fact, looking at it, I think that's probably, it's at least across the years, you guys know it's consistent,
Yeah. Hey, the only thing I add, Stan, and I think a lot of what you're saying is fair. So I have no issues with it.
Agree with it.
But I will say you are projecting at the end of the day with Jackson State, Central, and Alabama State, because they have new pieces. They all have new coordinators. We still have our same offensive coordinator. He's just going to be calling plays for the first time. Yes, Alabama State has a quarterback, but they lost receiver, they lost the running back, they lost a couple of linemen. So it's preseason. It is what it is. So, but it is projection in some of those.
Part of that projection is that you guys, at Alabama State.
Yep. Facts.
Jackson State, and then Southern comes to town.
Yeah.
Now that's any year, like even last year, if y'all had to do that schedule last year, winning all 3 of those games is going to be a hard task. But then doing that again this year, and that's after you guys had to play 2 FBS schools as well, that's going to be even harder of a task. So, y'all schedule is not doing y'all any favors entering the season. But like I said, you'll be able to tell after, I think, week one with a lot of these matchups. There's some good matchups week one to tell how good these teams are going to be. And luckily, y'all get 2 games before week one, before the next rankings come out. So,
so your next ranking will be when? After week one?
After week one. So not after the MEAC SWAC challenge because only 1 game. So after week one.
Okay, so there you
Stan, let me ask you this. And I know Bryan had I like the compilation, and I noticed that it seemed like NC Central was the only team in the top 2 across all 5 consistently.
Mm-hmm.
But question, does Howard have a case for being disrespected as a Celebration Bowl participant? And even though they lost their senior quarterback, but having a pretty good 1-2 punch at running back and the upward trajectory they've had the last couple of years?
Yeah, I thought about that for putting Howard at 3. Actually, I was thinking about that a lot, whether Howard should be 3 or Jackson State should be 3 in these rankings. I was kind of thinking about that. And when I was looking at it, I was like, okay, they lost Quentin Williams, but how good? Like Quentin, we go way back. He's from the DMV. I remember he was a freshman at Wise High School working out with him, but he was just inconsistent. So I'm like, well, if he was inconsistent then, how does this new guy really impact things, But then at the same time, I think that when it comes to Howard, I feel like there will be I just think Central, just looking at the teams, looking at how things went last year, I just think Central's going to be better based off of everything we know right now. So it was just looking at that. And then I'm like, okay, Central, I have more faith in Trey Oliver getting the job done than Larry Scott right now with all the changes that both teams have. So.
Game of the year, HBCU game of the year. If you had to pick one game, I think there's some interesting matchups throughout, but if you had to look at your HBCU game of the year, and I'll give you 2, Stan. So if you want to throw 2 out there, what are your top 2 HBCU games of the year when you look at the schedule? And don't worry about if you don't know dates. I may be able to pull it up quickly, but what are your top 2 HBCU football games of the year?
The first one is the one that I'm disappointed y'all aren't playing in, the Orange Blossom Classic. That one, but I get it. Y'all don't want to go to Miami that much. I don't know why y'all don't want to go to Miami that much. If I could go to Miami,
ain't y'all.
It ain't y'all.
It ain't y'all.
It ain't y'all.
It's one person.
Ain't y'all.
Yeah. Well, look, if I could go to Miami 2 weeks in a row, look, y'all don't even gotta come back. Do y'all even start school then? Y'all might, but y'all can do some classes online. Stay in Miami for the whole week. Don't even gotta go back. That's what I would say if I was a player. We could have been in Miami then, stay there, play in Miami again. But that game, Alabama State, North Carolina Central, a lot of people's, top 3 and all those rankings you have, a lot of their top 3 teams, wherever they had them, will be playing in that game. So I think that's a good matchup to kind of see. And that'll give you a good litmus test of how good both of those teams are. And then y'all going to Tallahassee. Y'all going to Jackson. I'm sorry. Y'all going to Jackson.
October 19th.
Game, y'all fan bases hate each other, and y'all just started getting the same league 3 years ago. Like I grew up a Redskins fan. They're now the Commanders, and we grew up hating the Cowboys. But I don't know I think FAMU and Jackson State might be on that same level of hating the fan base. I think Twitter's playing a big role in that, but
big role.
Yeah,
they hate us more than we hate them, right? Because
I think that's really what it is. Especially now that we've won the Celebration Bowl and they didn't in 2 tries. They really hate us now.
Yeah, I think that game will be exciting though too. I hope y'all travel to the game.
I hope so too.
I gotta get tickets now because I know they're gonna try to make sure. Excuse me, y'all can't get tickets.
Well, yeah, it's 50,000 seats. We ain't got to pack all of them, but I know we hopefully will have a good representation. I hope Rattler Nation makes the effort of all the road trips. And I know it's a tough one, but make the road trip to that game. Somewhere we haven't been in. How long has it been since we've been to Jackson?
What was that?
The Earl Holmes era? Yeah. The Hail Mary. Yeah.
It's been a decade since we've been in Jackson. And so we're walking in hopefully with a great team, great record at that point in the season. And it may very well determine who wins the East.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll be after our Alabama State game.
Yeah, a couple of weeks after Alabama State. So we'll have a clear, and I think Jackson, I didn't even look at the schedule. I don't know when Jackson plays Alabama State. I think is it before
After
or
our game.
I think it's
after our
Okay, so it's after.
It's after our game.
So it definitely will have some major ramifications about who will come out of the East in that game. All right, Stan. Look, I want all Stan. I know you're never shy, so I want you to give people the Twitter handle. You guys in the chat room. I'm a big fan of Stan Becton. I like Stan's work. I know some of y'all in the chat are like, what the? Hey, okay, relax.
Wow.
Remember, this is
pretty
Stan.
easy.
Don't forget,
It's pretty easy.
Stan ranked us number 1. Nick just showed you the ring. What year was that, Stan?
Was that? I think that's 2021. I think that's
Exactly.
2021.
When everybody else went right, Stan recognized the year we had and went left. So y'all relax and give Stan, he knows what he's talking about. He knows his stuff. So Stan, let the people know where they can find you. Only send positive tweets to Stan, please. But Stan, let them know where they can find you on X.
It's all right. I respond to not all of them. I respond to a lot of them. It just depends, like Nick was saying, a lot of my free time, I'm on college football 25 now. I'm not going to lie. Look, I'll wake up in the morning. First thing I do before I even eat breakfast, I wake up, say my prayer, hop on the game. That's the first thing I do as soon as I eat before I eat breakfast. But you can find me on Twitter at Stan_Becton. So the same way as it's spelled on here, just put an underscore in between it. That would be my Twitter right there. I just feel free to respond. The full rankings are up there. Got all 21 teams. You get to see the team at the bottom. It's not Valley this year. It's not Valley at the bottom this year. So make sure you read the whole thing so you can see who's at the bottom.
Good point. Ooh, Valley's not at the bottom. Ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, I have to go back.
I actually have Valley 17.
What? That means there's 3 teams worse than. Is that right? Four teams.
Four. I got Hampton, Pine Bluff, Bethune, and Delaware State at the bottom.
Ooh.
But there's some teams in the middle too, so I didn't give it all away.
Man, okay. Well, yeah. Ooh, look at that. Something to look forward to this year. Okay, Stan. Hey, again, Stan Becton. Stan_Becton on X. You guys be kind, please. Send Stan, stop being this way. Stan's he's not from Jackson State. He's not a Jackson State Stan, so he's just Stan Becton.
If you show Jackson State people that, they're gonna be like, no, he's not.
hey, Bryan. This is Rattler Nation we talking about.
I know they didn't throw me under the bus. Certain people. That's all right. I'm gonna try to win y'all back in the next segment because I'm gonna get after one of the people y'all love to hate. So maybe I'll win them back in a few minutes. But all right, hey Stan, thanks for your time tonight, man. Really appreciate the content,
appreciate you, Stan.
Coverage, and we look forward to following along with your rankings throughout the year and your polls.
Yeah, of course. I'm still no word if I'm gonna get down to Tallahassee this year or not. Hopefully they let me know something by the end of this week. I don't know, but
I hope so too.
I hope
they should let you come to either the South Carolina. Well, look, South Carolina State game is on a Saturday. Then you could drive down to South Florida for the Orange Blossom Classic. I don't know
about that drive, but they'll play.
You can ride with me because I might be making that trip. That might be how my weekend is spent. But we'll have to talk offline if you want.
All right, always a pleasure being on with you guys.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Stan.
All
Thanks,
right,
man.
Stan.
All right. Stan Becton, ladies and gentlemen, NCAA.com. Boy, y'all are hardcore, man.
They are cold. They are cold.
I'm telling you, man. Between that, y'all chopping certain people. I'm not even gonna call certain people out in the chat. Y'all call
fan and fanatic.
Yeah, man, you call me out, be like, man, like I'm the one who bought.
Hey, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Yeah, exactly. Like I brought a white woman to dinner. Boy, y'all treat me bad, man. Okay, let's go to a break. I need to go put some water on my face because, man, I feel real dirty after messing around with some of y'all. All right, we're coming back. Last segment of the show. We got to finish up and clean up a little bit of the mess, talking about what's happening with the coach's contract, a few other news and notes. So we'll be back in just a second. You're watching the O&G StrikeZone right here on the Black College Sports Network.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster. absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
Nope. Nope.
Come on, him?
Ooh, I like him.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up messes quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less.
He's an 8.
He's a 9.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
This is Bryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Greetings, I'm Kiana Watson.
Hi, I'm Zoriana Hughes.
Greetings, I'm Nia Morgan, and for all things FAMU Athletics, check out the O&G StrikeZone
on Wednesdays at the Black College Sports Network.
Go Rattlers!
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies. Shout out to our softball team.
I'm disappointed, Bryan. I ain't seen my clip. And we done kind of teed it up with that last segment.
We did. I'm sorry. I got distracted by going through 50 some odd names of coaching candidates. So it kind of took my breath away in going through that. But we are still a week and 10 days since we were still looking for a softball coach.
As far as we know, we're looking for a bowling coach.
Are we looking for a bowling coach too?
It's real quiet. I don't know.
Oh man. Yeah. All right. Let me just stop there. It's tough. Put it like that. It's tough. I will say this. Stop sending emails. Those of you who are sending in recommendations, don't send. Stop. Just stop. Stop sending emails. Just
no, you don't. Rattler Nation, do your thing. I'm with Rattler Nation. Do your thing.
I'm gonna tell Rattler Nation to send emails to your trustees. If you want to send an email to somebody, send it to the board of trustees. Stop sending it to the AD or to her assistant or whoever you've been sending emails to, making recommendations. Just stop. Just stop. You're not helping. You think you are. You should be, but you're not. I'm just keeping it real. Before I come back to our basketball topic, I got to remind everybody again, do us a favor. Go check out the BCSN Game Time locations. Where should we be this season? We're going to be on the road to our favorite, to the best locations around the HBCU diaspora. So you can go vote mybcsn.net/watch/polls. I will put let me see if I got the link up there. Yeah, it is. I'm going to put the link. Here comes the link right there in the chats. I put the link there in the chats so you can go click on that link if you're in the chat, Facebook or YouTube. Go click that link and vote, please, if you would. Thank you. Also, want to send a shout out to, again, our good friend Mike Road Dog Reed. If you have not bought your tickets for the MEAC SWAC Challenge, you still have an opportunity to sit in the club section, section 316, $79 a ticket, a great ticket. It's one ticket only. That's it, just the ticket. But you can get your tickets. You can see I highlighted right there in the circle where section 316 is. Use the code StrikeZone when you check out. JustLookingOut.com. And then if you want a more visual look, that's what it looks like. So you see that section that's right there under the shade. That's where you can get tickets at. So it's good seats. Use the code StrikeZone at checkout. I know some of you have been kicking the tires. Mike tells me a lot of people have been inquiring, kicking the tires. All right, playtime's over, folks. Let's go ahead and get those purchases made. StrikeZone. Use the code StrikeZone at checkout. Appreciate your support. Okay. What other? Before I come back to my final thoughts and takes on this basketball issue, what other conversations or what other news and notes are hanging out there that we haven't got to, Marcus, Kelvin?
Well, I guess the other thing, in another chat, we got the roster update the other day for football. And so we got a few players. We had some of the ones that were lingering out there because they did a roster update mid to late June. So now, there were some transfers that weren't listed and people were getting a little shaky. So we did get a roster update and some of those have shown up. And there are some notable missing folks as well from spring signees that came from January. And we did get at least one or two transfers. We got a JUCO quarterback.
I was going to say the quarterback room we picked up two new names that I see on here different from a week ago.
And I have the slides up, but I know it's getting late. But we got two new quarterbacks, one freshman, a high school freshman, well, a high school signee. He's a true freshman, and then a JUCO quarterback out of California. Got a couple of freshmen defensive linemen from Florida.
Hold on, let's back up for a second. Let's throw names out there. I mean, we ain't got to show slides, but at least throw names out there.
All right, so the junior college quarterback is David Jordan Oliveros out of Lake Balboa, California. Played for Birmingham High School, class of 22. He played at West Los Angeles Community College. He's coming us from there. He's 6'4", 205.
Sherman Oaks. He's from Sherman Oaks. Isn't that out there where Musa was from?
I don't know the lay of the land. It could be close.
I'll look into it. But
we got a transfer wide receiver, Jacoby Dilworth. He's coming from Muskegum University in New Concord, Ohio. I'm not sure what division, what level of football that is, but he is a native of Florida from Spoto High School in Riverview. And he goes 6'2", 190. So there's like 6 or 7 folks that are like we hadn't heard before. The next one is one of the freshman defensive linemen is Ethan Eugene out of Sumner High School in Riverview, Florida. And they had a great season this past year. I think they made the Class 4A Metro Regional Final. So basically one step away from the Final Four. And he goes 6'3", 255. We got another defensive lineman. He actually graduated class of 2023. So I'm not sure if he was a walk-on or if he transferred in, but he's listed as a freshman. His name is Nicholas Toussaint from Palm Beach Central. Played at the same high school as Justin Bostic, a 3-star DB that we recruited and signed last year. So they made it to the Final Four for Class 4A Metro. in 2022, his senior year, and he was voted All-State for the Florida High School Football.com Class 4A All-State team. So he made first team defense there. Has also made the Palm Beach Post All-Area Football Team first team defense, and he goes 6'3", 215. So he's coming in, a lot bigger than Isaiah Land, but he had a real productive senior year. I think he had like 16 sacks, a couple interceptions, tackles for loss. So he's coming in with a lot of accolades. And Traven Green is the last one. He's the other quarterback. He goes 6'2", 170 out of Rockledge High School, and he's class of 2024. And they made it to the second round in the Class 3A Suburban playoffs.
So the quarterback room went from previously we had 5, and now it's up to 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So obviously Muratovic, Richardson, Trey Fisher, the young man you just mentioned, David O. Jordan, Bryson Martin, Raven Green, and Austin Hooker. So QB room is deep with 7 guys this year. Obviously, running backs. A lot of people talking about who's. Are either of you guys worried the fact that when we look at the running backs, we only got 5 guys on the roster: Kelvin Dean, Bo Somerset, Thad Franklin Jr., Dorian Collier, Rashad Quinn. Any worries about the only 5? I mean, when you think about how does and compared to previous years in terms of our depth at the running back spot.
We've only gone like 3 deep most of the time. We had the one season when we played Albany State where we had a slew of injuries,
mm-hmm.
and it ended up having to play what was the freshman from Rickards. So I'm thinking, the numbers will look a little different by the time the summer semester is over with.
So you think that there's still room for more additions after maybe another week or 2, correct?
So I know there's some kids in summer school, both JUCO as well as who on the team, and so I think some of that has to play out.
Okay, and this is the final week of summer semester.
Correct.
Graduation is Saturday.
Correct.
So yeah, so maybe going into the weekend or at the Monday, we'll know more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good stuff. What else do we know or not know? Encourage you guys, make sure you're following Gerald Thomas. Gerald's been doing a great job dropping stories every week, giving you good updates. I know he just recently dropped an article not only about the offensive line, but he talked about some of the transfers, some of the new guys who have been pressed over the past week. So good stuff by the Gerald Thomas GT3. If you're not a subscriber to the Democrat, obviously we get no money off of it, but it's a great. They always run good promotions, so I mean you can catch a good promotion and catch some of these articles that Gerald is posting. So just to give, if you guys want to stay up to date on what's happening.
Tailgate spots.
Oh man. Okay, so I don't know how to really handle that. I'm gonna let you talk about that because I don't. I obviously. I know some people aren't happy, but just go ahead and tell people what's the tea there.
Well, centrally, they have tailgate spots available in the area of what used to be Paddyfoot, and those spots are like $300 per game, with homecoming being $400, and it's a 20 by 20 spot. And you can get the season package for like $1,200. So you can go to the athletic site and find the link and register. Now, those who are invested in champions, the policy within the footprint of the stadium is the same, allegedly.
No
Long,
tailgating on the hill.
no tailgating on the hill. In green spaces.
Sorry, Earl.
And you have to stay within the footprint of the parking spaces you bought. So if you only have one spot and you have a car, you got to fit everything within that footprint. So, but the pricing is there, and the spots are available. There's no tailgating at the garage and no gas grills. The policies are the same.
No tailgating in the garage.
That's what was on the notification.
Well, I tell you, it make it hard.
Hey, let me just say, come on, Dr. Beard.
Yeah, like, okay, well, so you say that, but then if you don't change anything, you may not be so excited about that. What does it say? Was it Derek said Patty Foot? Yeah.
He's talking about the visiting team tailgate.
Oh, well, I don't know. They $300. But if you purchase and investing in champions, you can tailgate in your parking space area, correct?
Yeah, if you can fit a car in your tailgate stuff in that spot. If you ain't buy two spots, of course, if you bought an extra spot, then you can use your extra spot. But if you only got one spot, then yes.
Is it worth buying two spots? If you look at that plan, what's the price in comparison? I don't know what you. Is it cost
the investment champions package started at 1,000, I guess, and the next package, if I remember, I'm doing it off the top of my head. I'm thinking it was $3,000 or 2,500, somewhere around there. I don't know when you get the second spot, but if you a serious tailgater and you got a crew, then yeah, it's worth the investment to get the larger package and get the two parking spaces. But again, I don't know what the inventory is looking like. Who's renewed, and can you get two spots that are adjacent? That's the question.
Okay. Okay. Corinthians says $1,000 gets you a garage parking spot. I'm assuming that's for the season. Okay.
There's no tailgating in the garage. Allegedly.
Allegedly. Just don't bring a grill. You can still tailgate without a grill.
That's not tailgate.
I said you could tell. Look, that's grilling. Anyway, any other?
Why would you mess with the environment, right? You want to encourage people to tailgate and to hang out and and get that rattler spirit going and all that. I mean, who wants to stifle that? If you want to charge for it, so be it. You can't overcharge, right? You need to go be out there doing some fundraising, frankly. But I mean, if you want to charge for it, that's one thing. But to not have it as an option, it's short sighted. You're losing softball coaches because they can't get two assistants, right? But you're leaving. I mean, I'm calling it like I see it, brother. Makes no sense.
Has there been any parking set up where Gibbs Hall used to be? What are they doing with that space yet?
It's grass. It's green space, I think, right now.
Green space. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Just put that out there. Okay. Any more instant reaction to the rankings that I put up earlier? Again, I'm going to flash this up. Showed this earlier. This matrix here. Any other thoughts from you, Marcus or Kelvin, as you look at these various poll rankings?
No surprise. It just kind of points to the uncertainty or the parity going into projecting this season with the transfer portal and who was lost and the coaching changes and the coordinator changes. I think all of the top 4 unanimous teams have like new coordinators or a head coach, one or the other. In some cases, like Jackson State, they got the same head coach, but they got 2 new coordinators. So it's difficult to project. So it's understandable.
Any comments, Marcus?
No, same. I mean, it's kind of, there's a lot of change on the roster and in the administration for the football teams, and whether it's at a key position, whether it be a coach or a key player like a quarterback or defensive stalwart. So it's pretty much parity. There's no real standout.
2 things I find interesting. One, I teased it earlier, and Kelvin, you caught it. North Carolina Central is 1 or 2 in everybody's poll. But also look at the difference between FAMU and Alabama State. In the 2 polls where FAMU is ranked number 1, right? Alabama State is ranked 5th in one, box to row, 6th in another. Now, the 2 polls where Alabama State is first, FAMU is 3rd and 5th. I that's so interesting to me. And then probably HBCU sports was really interesting how they kind of have a MEAC SWAC thing going on in the first 4. Are the guys at HBCU sports feeling like the MEAC is better than the SWAC this year? If you take the top 2 teams? And then one other final point, if you're Alcorn State, who was predicted 1 in the SWAC West, you got Alcorn State ranked as low as 9 and 10th in the 2 latest rankings that have come out, and 4 and 5, anywhere from 4, 5, 7, 9, and 10. I mean, everyone is all over the map about Alcorn State.
It's the West. I mean, yeah, I'm just saying. I predicted the last 3 years the winner was going to be a tiebreaker, and they were going to have 3 conference losses, and this year's no different. I do think either Fairview or Alcorn will have an opportunity to have maybe 2 losses instead of 3 losses, but we don't know. It's the West, so I ain't got no problem with what they're doing with that.
All right, let me conclude. Final thoughts here, bringing it back home to why our coach is caught in the middle of this mess. And while earlier in the show I kind of talked about, some questions, and I kind of had to bring out the steak knives and kind of carve up some of these takes by Trustee Gibbons and Trustee Lawson. I think what is the most disappointing thing here and why coach is caught in the middle of this is because somebody hasn't been playing politics very well. And you could say maybe our AD doesn't know how to play politics, doesn't want to play politics. I don't know how you want to describe it. But if the objective is to get your guy, your selection across the finish line and across that contract, across the table and approved, the way the politics of this have been played are very poor. And I got 3 examples to show you that. Coach Crary contract was signed on the 17th and 18th of April. The introductory press conference was on the 18th. Okay. And that's where he signed a 3-year contract. Now, the chair of the athletic DSO committee is Trustee Gibbons, correct? at some point in this process, if you're playing the political game and you've already dealt with the issues that you dealt with previously in the year, wouldn't it be a wise move to talk to your athletic committee people? I mean, these are people that you have to work with, the people that have oversight, right, over athletics. Wouldn't it be a wise move to make them informed of him, this contract? Because if you go back to the June meeting, their statements gave you the impression that they didn't, A, know who he was, and B, know about the contract. That's not good. Second opportunity here. Now, this came a month and a half after the introductory press conference. Guess where it was, fellas? At the National Alumni Convention in Tampa, Florida, in late May. In late May, our basketball coach, along with many other coaches, were at this convention. They had a board of trustees meeting. They had all these meetings and stuff that happened, right? AD was even there presenting to the board, presenting at the breakfast. And there was no mention, presumably, no mention of this contract, coach being on a temporary contract, all the things that came up in the June meeting, in that June conversation, right? None of that seems to have taken place. Why would our coach not run into these people? Why aren't our trustees meeting our coaches? All these people are in the same area. Why aren't they running into each other? Why isn't, hey, Trustee Lawson, hey, Trustee Gibbons, hey, Trustee Klatt, this is the new head basketball coach. Yeah, I saw the press conference. Hey, you get a chance to talk to him. Here, I mean, he's here. He's a personable guy. I'm sure he would have talked to him. I don't think he talked to him. I'm like 90% sure he didn't. How does that happen? How did that fail to happen at some point in time in the 2 to 3 days when he's there? Okay. So when the June thing comes up and all of that is said, and the quotes were tough. It reeked of, and regardless of the whole letter by Reverend McAllister, they should have they had 2 months to get to know and know of Coach Crary. How is it they don't know who he is? How is it when you read read the comments. Go back and look at the comments. So somewhere in there, the game wasn't played well. But okay, strike one, strike two. The event happens. Now, between the event of June 23rd, I think it was, to June 24th, because that was the first day of session. That was the first day of workouts, June 24th. So between June 24th and July 30th, how many days is that, Kelvin Marcus? About 30-something days, maybe 30, 38 days, 37 days. Between then and yesterday, how is it nothing has been presented to these committee members of the athletic group? I mean, if you already know Gibbons and Lawson are not in favor of this or you, how is it the other people on the committee aren't there to combat this 6-2 vote that took place? 6-2, meaning 4 other people are siding with Gibbons and Lawson, either because they're just siding with Gibbons and Lawson, or they don't have a reason to vote otherwise. They haven't been communicated to. There's no political game that's been talked to. They haven't been spoken to, maybe. How about is there any presentation that took place in that committee meeting to say, this is the landscape of the SWAC? 11 other coaches in the SWAC have 3 to 5 year deals. Even when they first come in, This is the standard. This is the standard in college basketball. Most coaches come in and so, but no, you're going to ask me to hire a coach on a 1-year contract. I sadly, I understand we've been getting away with that with our Olympic sports. Shame on us. But the basketball position, which is one of the generating revenues or revenue generating sports, has been paying multi-year deals for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, the last 4 contracts. 4 contracts, 3 coaches have all been 3-year deals. All of a sudden, this one is different. You want to pivot off of that all of a sudden. Why? The game of politics and trying to get your guy across the finish line has been poorly played. And to the detriment of Coach Creary, to the detriment of our basketball program, and for the same people to say to Rattler Nation, oh, I don't want us to be in the news. We're better, blah, blah, blah. Well, we have a funny way of showing it. And again, if the objective of our administrator and our top athletic administrator should be as some way of finding a way, find a way to make sure that your candidate, your person gets across the line. You have the utmost confidence. The quote is, hey, I believe I've hired the right person who meets with our vision and our strategic plan. Have those conversations happened behind the scenes? Have those conversations happened outside of that public setting in the committee meetings?
Hey, Bryan, let me just add one thing to your comment. So in 2016, Milton Overton presented 3 contracts to the board of trustees. Kevin Lawson was the chair of the board of trustees.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 contracts were Jamie Shute baseball, Veronica Wiggins softball, and Dr. Darlene Moore track and field.
Mm-hmm.
Those contracts were approved. You know what those contracts were for?
What?
3 years.
Wow.
What's changed? And to your point, Milton laid out trying to keep the stability of championship level coaches. He made his case also during his presentation of presenting these contracts. But my point is, having multi-year contracts, even for Olympic sports, is nothing new at FAMU. That's why the name of this show is That's on Larry.
Well, I don't disagree, but at the same measure where you need your president to be able to help you. If you need the president to help you get these guys across the finish line, then you've got to be able to do that. But there also, at some point, you got to be able to stand and do it on your own. You got to be able to stand now.
Well, you know what I said? Milton Overton presented this.
Yeah.
So to your point, and do you know that not only were they 3-year contracts, but they also included raises for their success.
Ooh.
That's what competent athletic administrators look like. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna I don't it's not a case, and I know I see Doc in here. I appreciate Doc. Doc says an AD VP shouldn't bypass the president and have discussion politicking with board members. The president is on board for this. What I'm saying here is the president approved this. The president knew about this. He signed the contract. He knew about this. How did the trustees and the committee members not know about this? How? And again, I just simply go back to
I can give you 237 million reasons why. That's on Larry. That's how they roll.
You had an opportunity to these guys to, and it's sad for them to have to say we don't know him, we didn't know him, and they're still saying it. A month later, they're still saying it. You got one guy telling you, I don't know anything about him, but I think when I look at some names, he's not. What? Anyway, it's all an embarrassment. And yes, so for the crowd that wants to put blame on our AD, okay. For the crowd that wants to put blame on our trustees, okay. But again, at the end of the day, somebody's caught in the middle.
Well, at the end of the day, dysfunction has to turn into function. There has to be some kind of competency and some consistency. Like I just gave you straight up 2016 what we did. And it's only 2024 and now we're doing something different. We've got to have some things institutionalized in terms of personnel policy and procedures as well as operations, and we just don't have that, and that's a reflection, frankly, of all the leadership.
Our biggest hope, my biggest hope, this is just me speaking, my biggest hope is that Dr. Beard can somehow straighten us on a path towards a better operating system in athletics.
Absolutely.
That is my biggest hope. I don't know how, but I'm hoping that he can. We'll see. We'll see how quickly he's able to put things into place. Because I sure would like to have spent more of this show talking about our preseason football season, our preseason games, our opponents, but instead we have stories that feed a whole news cycle of platforms in the whole HBCU diaspora. Every talking head and every outlet has feasted on the fodder that has been. Well, I don't even want to. Anyway, they feasted. Everybody's gotten clicks and gotten info at the expense of who? Florida A&M University and Florida A&M men's basketball. Thank you to all who played a part. Sarcastically, I say that. Final thoughts, Marcus. Sorry to be so long-winded. Final thoughts for tonight.
The program.
The program.
The program? What?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Oh, Kelvin. Final thoughts. I don't know. What I felt like I missed something there. I was reading something in the chat. I missed something.
No, I'm good. I'm fading. So.
Okay.
No.
All right. Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Final thoughts.
Yeah. I'm gonna let him shut it down. No final thoughts other than make sure you're getting your tickets. You get the boosters, fan day. Make your plans for that. Make your plans for Atlanta, the first game of the season, and my man Nick set the tone. Rally Nation, we gonna strike again. All these predictions and stuff. Hey, I'm getting really good reports. We just got to get the quarterback situation decided about, but I'm getting really strong reports, and everybody will see when we line up against Norfolk State. They'll see it.
All right. Please join the FAMU Boosters, FAMUBoosters.com, www.FAMUBoosters.com. Last day of July. Maybe those of you who got a paycheck coming up at the end of the week, use that money and use it wisely, and go ahead and become a Booster Club member. And we'll look forward to meeting everybody in two Saturdays. August 10th. We'll be in Tallahassee at the luncheon, and we'll see you there. I'll be in touch with those of you who won the tickets. I'm sorry. I will reach out tomorrow for those of you who'll be sitting with us. We'll finalize the list tomorrow and reach out to everybody. So we look forward to seeing everybody there in Tallahassee on the 10th. We're going to try to do we'll try to do a live show, but I know we'll do something. We'll do something recorded, if not live, while we're there. Myself, Kelvin, Dr. Lori will be in the building, a few other VIP friends. Marcus, we wish we could fly you down, but we're not quite there yet. We're trying to get there. We get a few more people. Hey, look, we get a few more people to go ahead and donate to the show. Get a few more people to donate to the show. There you go. Use that square in the corner, and you can donate to the show, or you can hit the super chat in the YouTube feed. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you for joining us in the chats and however you're watching us on Instagram and X. Please share the show with your family and friends. Let them know about the O&G StrikeZone. If they don't know, let them know. And we say thank you and best wishes to Dr. Robinson on his final days. Enjoy your sabbatical. And we say hello to Dr. Timothy Beard, the new interim president of Florida A&M. What's that, Kelvin? What is that? You got a chain? What you got there?
Yeah, hey, this is one of many chains. But I saw somebody ask the question where I got it from. Walmart in Tallahassee on Parkway.
How much?
They got a couple of them. They got this one with the rattler head, and then they got a green one that's a little smaller with more like a bead chain, and it has a circle rattler head on it. I don't know, man. I can't remember.
Walmart,
20,
right? Not Sam's Club.
Yeah, maybe $20 or so.
Okay, because I know Sam's Club in Tallahassee always has some good stuff. So,
no,
right.
Walmart on Parkway.
Walmart in Tallahassee, Appalachia Parkway. All right, well, there you go. So for those of you in the Tallahassee area, maybe I can swing by there on the 10th if there's still any around. All right. Again, thank you to Nick Dixon and Stan Becton for joining us in today's show. Thank you, everybody, whether you be Rattler Nation or whether you just be part of the HBCU diaspora or just friends of the show. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening. Make sure to download the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere you listen and download podcasts. All of our shows on the Black College Sports Network are available in podcast format. BCSN Pod Zone, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple and Google Podcast, and more. Go check us out. For Marcus Green and Kelvin Rozier, I'm Bryan Fulford. Thank you, Rattler Nation. Be strong, stay tough, be supportive. Send your emails to the right people, and maybe some change will start to happen. Bangs up, strike, strike, strike again. Peace out, Rattlers.
Thank you.